Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Nextlander podcast. Whew, we got some stuff to get through, some fun, nostalgic romps. I'm very glad to be doing this podcast with you two today, especially today. Alex Navarro, how are you?
This one's for the old heads.
It kind of both for good reasons and maybe bad reasons, or not as celebratory reasons later on. Brad Shoemaker, how are you?
There's no knowledge that is not power. You know what they say.
I guess. Children love evil. Evil loves children. You know what they say? So we're going to talk about the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, and later on we're going to talk about what is going on with Microsoft for people who have been around a little bit.
That might be a larger conversation than one podcast can contain.
But before we get into that, anything which is I'm dying to talk some Mortal Kombat with you guys, but anything you guys want to jump into before we get rolling here?
I mean, I'll just say shout out to our friends at Giant Bomb and their Bombathon, which seemed to go well. In fact, we played some of that Mortal Kombat when we went out there for that.
You especially you were pitching in for Jan while he was
I basically became
some nuggets.
The default person who just slid in for anyone who was doing something else at the time when their turn came up.
Oh, did I see dozens of nuggets were consumed, possibly by people in this virtual room?
Not by me, I can tell you that.
So it was funny. Alex and I on our way there, it was a bit of a drive, and on our way there, we were both like, I wonder if there's food there. I'm like kind of hungry. Like we both hadn't eaten, kind of hungry. We get there, there's tons of pizza, and I was on the couch and I didn't eat anything. A couple of people are eating. It's the old producer in me, like eating on the mic, still a little weird for me. But I don't think it bothered anybody, but like for me.
So you weren't like making the mouth sounds directly into the microphone. I think no one cared.
And then at some point, I think Jan got hooked into doing or volunteered or something happened.
I think a vote was had or some sort of donation was had.
Him eating 100 nuggets, and I was super hungry.
The old classic.
So I was like, I'll do that with you, Jan.
Great.
And then
I looked at you and I said, "Are you sure you want to do that?" And then you were.
I was really hungry.
So what was the final number?
I ate. By the time I left, I had eaten 60.
60. That's respectable.
That's not nothing.
I really stopped a couple of reasons. I think Jan also had eaten about 60 when I left, and I wanted to keep him company. But
yeah, you don't want Jan to feel alone.
But the real reason was I was full after 60. I was probably full after 50, to be honest. But they come in boxes of 20. So what are you gonna leave? You gonna leave 10 in a box there? I am old enough now, and this is going to go two places, where I don't feel like I need to prove anything to myself in that capacity in silly eating challenges. And I was like, I could probably keep going. I think I might get sick and I might be out of this. But B, I really started old enough to really start being like, I could have an episode. I'm like old enough where this is a lot of sodium. I don't know
among
if my
other
body,
things that you maybe can't identify.
I don't know if my body could just absorb this like it used to. I could have. I don't want to die on camera.
Like the wrong artery hardens just a little bit more, and bad things ensue.
Or like go into shock or do something like, it's a lot of crap to put in 100 nuggets is just a lot of garbage to put in yourself. I mean,
even 60 is still a lot of garbage.
How did you feel at the end of 60?
I was okay.
Really?
Yeah.
You were like a little glassy eyed, but other than that, I'd say you were fine.
So it's one of the things that I stopped. My eyes started to actually blur a little bit, and I was like,
cool.
"Oh Jesus, this doesn't seem like a thing."
Nugget flashback.
No. What is your nugget MO in terms of like sauce or beverage?
I
like,
was just hungry. I just ate them dry mostly.
Jan was eating them totally dry.
Dry nugs.
I had like two or three of the honey mustard dip sauces, but like usually I'll go honey mustard. I like honey
barbecue
mustard.
or honey mustard are my go-tos.
Because that's important, because then you're adding a whole lot of sugar to the mix as well.
Yeah. And like, I had a beer there, so that's like gonna fill you up. But like generally I was like feeling full. I was like, I don't need to eat 100, and B, this could go bad in a lot of ways that I'm no longer feeling. I think Jan did wind up actually finishing the 100. Somebody told me
it took him a while.
11 o'clock the next morning or something like that, which is the way to go. Spread it all out. But Bacalar's there being like, this is like 5,000 milligrams of sodium or whatever, and like it's like 6,500 calories or whatever.
Yeah.
Being like, and that stuff just going in my head, being like, I don't know if the old ticker and the old body wants any of this.
Question though, tell me if I'm misremembering this or not. One, I feel like I remember the Nuggets challenge thing being a Ryan invention from long ago. And two,
sure.
I remember that challenge being 100 nuggets in 100 minutes.
Oh, I always thought it was a thing that's just been around for like decades. I assumed that was just a since McNuggets existed kind of thing. People were chasing the mythical hundo.
It's possible, but I feel like I remember Ryan bringing that to us conceptually at some point, and I do remember it was 100-minute like time limit was the goal originally. Maybe we've gotten away from that as a society. Maybe we've moved around away from the time challenge.
That sounds borderline impossible.
Criminal? Like
I don't know anyone who's done it. Is the thing?
I mean, like logistically impossible unless you're Joey Chestnut. Like, unless you're prepared to eat 3 nuggets at a time and wash them down with water constantly. You know what I mean? Like,
I tell you, it's 1 nugget a minute.
I made pretty good time on that 60.
Like unless you're training for that, I don't know if that's logistically possible.
I think the thing is, like, I would say I probably hit that 60 in about 20 to 30 minutes. Like, but it's a cliff. Like after that, or I should probably hit the 50 in about 20 minutes, and then 10 more nuggets took me another like.
The rest of the stream,
15
basically.
minutes, yeah.
That's what I mean.
It's a cliff. You just
100 and 100 means you kind of can't stop.
No, it's a pace that is like
there is no taking a breather.
I did something for, and I'm not endorsing eating challenges. Actually,
don't do this.
I think they're kind of dumb and dangerous. But like, I did something during an Extra Life where I felt like I had to keep pace with eating a nugget at some point. Back in my younger days.
I mean, we definitely tried it. Like, I remember, I feel like Alexis was the one that took that on.
Yeah.
Oh,
in a bad way.
Yeah.
I mean, there were the legendary Extra Life food orders, but those were not time challenges. That was just how much of the Pizza Hut menu can we bring to ourselves right now?
Yeah. I vaguely remember something. Again, food challenges, especially timed ones, kind of dumb. Unless you're a competitive eater and you're doing it. But again,
I mean, that's still dumb, but at least you're making money at it.
Yeah. Or like Man versus Food. And you remember that show? Didn't that get...
They literally had to change hosts because the other guy just couldn't do it anymore.
Like that dude fled from that thing because he straight up said it was destroying his body.
Yeah. Life lesson there. But yeah, congratulations to them. I had a fun stream. I had a great time there. Thanks for them. For them inviting us over to join in that. When we left, Dan looked like he was ready to murder someone in his Quan Chi makeup and a hoodie. And
Great.
I don't think we were too far off. I think the next segment wound up being some Black Ops thing. I don't know. It was grub snatched. I don't know what it was. All I remember seeing on the way home when I went to go check and see if it was still going was like, did they kidnap somebody?
He looked like Quan Chi as the Unabomber.
Yeah, it was a little scary, but that was great. Good people there.
That's fun.
Yeah.
So, well, speaking of Quan Chi.
Yeah. It's the greatest Mortal Kombat character of all time, as we all know.
So I will say thanks to our patrons who are patient with us. The embargo for this made us have to push it a little bit so that we could talk about this to hit the embargo. So,
but clearly, we are the kind of people you want to hear talk about old ass Mortal Kombat.
You
right?
are the types of people I want to hear talk about old ass.
So.
You and the rest of the people on the MK Legacy collection, like Ed Boon, Tobias, Jeff Gersman is there talking about Mortal Kombat. One of the, doing it. If you got to get somebody to do it, look, Jeff is also the person you want to hear talk about Mortal Kombat. It's
all the crew. It's Eugene Jarvis. It's fucking Dan Forden. If you've ever heard a name around Mortal Kombat from this era, they are probably in here talking about it if they can.
Like, I can finally fully forever remember who John Vogel is now. Like, I think I stumbled on that a week or two ago on this podcast, trying to remember who the 4th original developer of Mortal Kombat was, and now I remember who he is.
So this is the... is it Games with Gold? Is the traditional name
Gold
for
Master
this?
series,
Gold
but
Master
this is not a
series.
Gold Master release.
Yeah.
So
I don't know that they're even doing those anymore.
I think they are.
But for reference, this is that type of
it's the same
Ocean.
type of treatment, though.
I think the rubric here is the property they're working with August enough to demand they not be part of that series. You know what I mean? Like, Atari 50 was not a Gold Master, although that one predated the Gold Master name. Like, they rolled it out after that, but like, Gold Master seems to be their catch-all for like Jordan Mechner, God, what else have they done?
Llama
there was
Soft,
the Llama Soft
Minter?
one,
yeah, Jeff Minter. There's another one. Didn't they do 3 Gold Masters? But like Atari 50 is not.
Yeah.
Tetris was not. I don't think Tetris was Gold Master branded.
But I don't think so.
And this is
Regardless,
not.
just for
but they're all the
frame of
same thing.
reference.
But it's
Yeah,
all
like
the same
that's-
concept,
yeah,
which is
that's-
here's a big collection with a lot of documentary
Right.
information.
And
you
a
want.
timeline usually, right?
Yes, it is. It is all the same structure. It's just that some are part of that series and some are kind of standalone. And then like MK, Tetris, Atari, those are big enough properties to kind of get their own treatment.
And this Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, it's $50. It's broken out. The documentary stuff is broken out by game mostly, so it's MK1, MK2, MK3, MK4 with some stuff.
There's also a 5th
there.
one, which is MK Mania, which is kind of the period between MK1's development and the MK2 development.
Yeah, and like you'll get other games in there like between some of those, and they do a very little bit about post MK. I think it's post Special Forces, but let's just say MK4. But those games are not necessarily included in this kind of
No,
legacy
MK4 is.
collection. No, I'm saying post MK4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically the entire heyday.
Yeah.
Like 4.
and
Some hangers on
Yeah.
from after the heyday.
Yeah, well, like 4 is the first one where some people kind of drifted away. I feel like from
Yeah.
the series, or it's not like universally considered to be up to par with the first 3.
Yeah, I would not call 4 beloved by any stretch, but I do think it has some merit.
Yeah, and let's be clear, MK still does extremely well financially.
I mean,
think it is.
the thing ends with Boone being like, most franchises kind of trail off. We just sold the most MKs we've ever sold.
Right,
Each one
right,
sells
yeah.
more than the other one.
Like it's the highest selling fighting for like it's weird. Would you look at like the Evo scene, the competitive, like the FGC, like clearly, obviously, Street Fighter is the one that gets the most like technical respect there, and there's other games that like MK is never like top of the like Evo roster, you know?
No, in fact,
So
most times it's the opener for a
Right.
lot of like the Evo main events.
So it can be easy to forget that MK is like far and away the highest selling fighting franchise out there.
And I guess according to this, Ed Boon in this piece continues to sell more than the previous one.
Oh,
So
yeah.
just table
It's still
settings.
far and away the most successful Western fighting game franchise, right? Like by a pretty good margin.
I assume.
Like
It's-
what else
oh,
is
yeah,
there? It's like
I
Killer
don't
Instinct
know.
and a few
Oh,
other
it's-
things,
yeah.
right?
It's the most successful fighting franchise, period, is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like
And so just
by sales.
other table settings. So you have this documentary stuff. Again, it goes a little bit further past MK4-ish era, but that's mostly where the focus is on. And then you have, for the people like me, a really great Matrix, basically the giant character select screen.
I love that.
I knew you would like this when I saw it. I was like, oh, Vinny's going to love this. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's just like
This is built for you.
it's such a distilled, like filtered lore dump
Yeah.
for each character, which is like
per game.
and that's awesome because like they have the endings for each character
Yes.
just accessible from this menu, because the endings were like not a huge, but they were kind of a
They're a big draw.
second string appeal of those original games, because the endings are also goofy, or not goofy, but they're all like quite interesting, you know, like
Yeah.
like you were there for, depending on who you are, the blood and fatalities, or the fighting, or the secrets, you know, like the pit like stage fatalities and stuff. But on the back end, it was like, oh, these endings are actually like
Interesting.
like this image of Cyrax getting stuck wandering forever through the desert is really kind of tickling my brain in a fun way. Like the endings are a lot of fun, so like to break all that stuff out and make it accessible is great.
Yeah, so you have this giant character select screen, which is also kind of awesome because characters just kind of come and go as you cycle through the game, so you can actually see who's in what games, and it's really well done. You can tell there's a lot of clever, not clever isn't the right word, people who know what the hell is going on with these games. Thoughtful, yeah. Because characters will come and go, and they have the right characters split out, like, you know, Sub-Zero, Noob Sabat share an entry, and so you can kind of cycle through and be like, oh, okay, and then you get a little timeline up until MK4. They do not do any of the reboot stuff.
None of the PS2 era games are in there, though. Like, you know, stuff like Special Forces and mythologies are cited in there.
They're in there, yeah.
And the
they're
games
in there,
are in there.
They're playable. Those are not my jam at all. I should also say I'm a pretty casual MK person. Like, obviously I grew up during the time.
Yeah.
but I'm by no means an MK head. I feel like you guys have a much stronger relationship with MK.
Yeah, I think I sit somewhere between you and Brad, which is that there was definitely a period where I was an intense obsessive, and over the years I became more of a casual player, but I've always loved Mortal Kombat just sort of conceptually and mostly in execution.
Yeah, like my general arc is like I thought MK1 was fun. And like certainly very splashy from the shock value, edgy violence perspective.
Yeah, cool and novel for its time.
Like played it in the arcade, played the home versions. 2 is probably the most obsessed I have ever been with a video game. Like I spent as much time as humanly possible in an arcade while that game was big.
Yeah, I played an extraordinary amount of that in 3 in arcades.
Yeah, and 3 I liked, but less than 2, so I kind of like slowly drifted away after
3
that.
3 is not as good. That's why.
I fully agree with you.
And then just to kind of set up a little bit more of the game here or the package, you then get all the games up until I think it's Special Forces, maybe the last chronological game that they have in there. But they have the arcade versions, sometimes multiple arcade versions. They have the console versions, for better or worse. And then they also break out. A small criticism, I think this is a fantastic package, but a criticism I have, which is a surprising one, is when you go into the sound library to play the soundtracks, they do not label clearly what soundtrack you're listening to.
I know exactly where you're going with this, and the reason for that is that I own all those soundtracks.
So you know
those are literally the way they're laid out in the music player, and I will say I love a thing like this with a built-in music player.
Yeah.
Because like in this, you can build a playlist of tracks from every game and have that play over the background, because you're spending a lot of time in menus in this thing.
Oh, yeah.
Looking through lore, looking at, documentary stuff. Those are the CD releases of the soundtracks of those games. So like the reason it's confusing is that the first CD release has MK1 and 2 on it.
Okay.
And if I remember, the track order on the album is MK2 first and then MK1.
Oh, weird.
And the cover is MK2 art, but in the fine print, if you look at the small text at the bottom, it basically says like music from MK1 and 2 or something.
Oh, I didn't see any small text. That's what I was looking for. Oh, on the cover.
It's the album cover is what I'm talking about, which is very small on the screen. You might not even be able to read that text. I can't remember.
I thought I saw one that said 2 and 3. You're kind of cycling the box art, like you said. So you kind of have to be like, that looks like an SNES box art. I think that's
like that's just some minutia about the soundtrack releases, but they reproduced those CD soundtracks in here exactly like verbatim as they are laid out on the disc, which is why it's a little confusing that they don't tell you which music is necessarily from which game.
Yeah. And like, you kind of going through the documentary, and this is kind of getting more into the meat of the documentary stuff. But like after watching the documentary, I kind of want to be like, oh, I really want to listen to the Genesis soundtrack for Mortal Kombat versus the SNES one. They talk a lot about that. Yeah. And then you kind of have to be like, I think that looks like the Genesis box. And,
I kind of got, as I was going through some of the documentary stuff and as I went and played some of the home ports, there are some pretty distinct differences, like visually, between those two. Like when you're watching the documentary, it's a little harder to tell.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remembered vividly, as soon as I booted those versions up, I was like, oh man, yeah, this Genesis version doesn't look as good, but boy, does this play better. Holy shit, does this play better.
If you're talking about SNES 1 does not play well.
Yeah. No, SNES 1 is bad.
It looks better, but it's super stiff to play, and of course it lacks all the violence.
Did you get to okay, so now we're just going to get into the meat of some of the documentary here. Did you get up to so I watched all the videos, looked at all the artwork, I made it through everything.
I'm halfway through the documentary now.
I'm not that far yet. I'm still in MK1. Like, I'm still in the thick of MK1 development for multiple reasons.
Of stuff.
That's the longest one by far.
Number one, when I first fired this thing up, I went straight to the arcade games. Like, I spent most of my time playing the arcade versions of these games. I hardly
played any of it. Okay.
And was mostly reminded how fucking cheap the AI is in single player MK arcade. Like, it is, like, it's known to cheat.
Yeah, it's
like,
brutal.
It's awful.
It's absolutely brutal.
I will say this has online play, but at the time of this recording, the game's not out yet, so I wasn't able to find any matches. But
it's rollback netcode, though, right?
Yeah, it's got rollback netcode. Anybody who has this on PS5, please queue for MK2 this weekend. I will be looking for matches. This does not have crossplay, sadly, so it's going to be siloed by platform. But I'm very much looking forward to seeing. I will.
Who's your main?
Give you Raiden.
Okay.
Probably. Well, at the height of my MK2 fandom, I just played Shang Tsung constantly because I knew every morph and move and fatality. So I just, like, if you really wanted to style on people, you just played Shang Tsung and morphed into whoever you felt like.
I guess yeah. We'll start talking a little bit about the implementation of the game stuff, because in addition to the arcade cabinets and what I thought is a really slick package for the playing the games, even the library, they show the games, like you can filter by arcade, console.
It's really well designed.
It's nicely done. You have general options, and then once you get into especially the arcade cabinet, it looks like you get access to basically the dip switches for the arcade if you want. So you have CRT overlays and those kinds of things and general options. But then once you're in there, it looks like you can turn on what I assume were the dip switches in the arcade game, which is cool. If you want to get in there and start hitting some of those flags, like have reptile appear more or whatever. I don't know all this stuff. I just ask me anything. I watched 5 hours of documentary stuff on Mortal Kombat, but
there's some stuff they've added, like Digital Eclipse has added as well. There's like kind of a fatality trainer, so you can A, learn the fatalities, but also B, just kind of see them all if you just want to do them in sequence.
And then putting the move list up on the screen, like having that be a toggle, when also like the fatalities, like here's the list of fatalities, and also being able to turn on an infinite timer for fatalities. These are the way to play these old games if you're going to play them, because that is such a clutch thing to have.
Yep. And it's context sensitive too, so the fatality stuff won't come up and crowd out the margins until the fatality timer starts, right? So you just have your moves on the side.
If I can just fully answer your question really quick, just to get this out of my system. The reason I mained Raiden in 2.
Oh, sure.
It was 2 things. It was the turnaround jump kicks and the deep jump kicks. So, like, that's what they added to 2 that made it so much fun to play. Was the turnaround kick was when you jump over somebody, it reverses your direction, so you can still jump kick them from the other side.
And Boone addresses that specifically.
Does he?
Oh, he's like, I can't even believe that's not in 1.
Dude, okay, I've got to finish this thing. Like, the reason A, I've been playing a lot of the arcade games. B, this is the one for me where I am meticulously going through every single thing in here with a fine-tooth comb.
Yeah.
So I'm moving very slowly through it, because it's like, it was basically like this and 90s id Software were the 2 fantasy, like, dream projects for this series once Digital Eclipse started doing these. So the fact that this actually exists is like so exciting to me. And hearing that Ed, of course, he was the programmer, he came up with most of the gameplay mechanics. Of course, he talked about deep jump kick. Like the deep jump kicks is where you wait until like the last second to jump kick somebody, so you get more height.
He didn't explicitly talk about the deep jump kick. He talked about the turnaround one.
So like the you're basically trying to pop them up in the air higher relative to your position by waiting until the last second to jump kick them, which gives you more time to then juggle them with subsequent moves by having them higher in the air compared to you. And that's why I play Raiden all the time, because you could jump kick into Torpedo all fucking day long.
Yeah.
Which is like a quarter of their health bar, and like you could just flawless people before they knew what was going. Anyway, sorry.
Well, I think this is, first of all, the production value on it is really top tier. It's the
documentary stuff.
Yeah, it's really well done.
Really good.
Audio's great. The camera stuff is great. It's a mix of them shooting their own stuff and then some people submitting their own camera stuff. So you have like Jeff Gerstmann's stuff is submitted from his webcam. I assume it looks like his webcam.
No, that's his standard streaming
that's his
setup.
room. And like Cliff Blazinski is doing his webcam stuff.
The nice thing is
Drucker is in there.
Right. But the nice thing is they went to Chicago. So it seems like most of the original MK people still live around Chicago. So they've got most of them on camera in what I assume is the NetherRealm arcade backdrop. But like Warren Davis, they got over webcam because I assume he's not in the area anymore.
Yeah. Some people are in other locations, but even when you can tell the difference when they're shooting stuff. It's really well shot and pretty well edited.
Nice B-roll of arcade machines. And it's not just MK. Like, part of the reason I'm going through this so slowly is because there's so much pre-MK, like Bally and Williams and Midway stuff in there.
Smash TV, Narc.
Like, they spend a lot of time on
Smash game that Boone was working on.
Or even like, they actually get into like Boone and Tobias's backgrounds, like Boone's parents immigrating from the Dominican Republic, like John Tobias being like a street graffiti artist in Chicago before he
and working on the real Ghostbusters comic book.
Yeah, and also apparently he did totally.
I did think it was very funny that the real Ghostbusters comic was like the one thing they didn't end up showing in the documentary. I assume because whoever owns the rights to that's a stickier thing to pull up images for and put in a commercial product.
Yeah, but like and this is extremely my shit. They spend a lot of time on like Midway transitioning to digitized graphics and the tech behind getting that working, and how they're basically like Eugene Jarvis is in this a bunch saying like, like, hey, Japan was killing us on art in the arcade at the time. Like, we could not compete with that stuff. So we came up with this other thing. Like, hey, what if we put real images in there? And then extended sequence of Warren Davis talking about like, hey, we knew we were heading for 256 colors.
Yeah.
And talking about capturing from VHS and quantizing down to lower color depth. And like, there's all kinds of fun background tech in there about like, hey, VHS sucked ass.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to do all this stuff to make the frames look good in the games. Like, there's so much fun detail in there.
And, you know, this is a promotional piece for sure.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't like a thing that's like an expose and like so everybody comes off as pretty affable, pretty like, you know, they're not trying to like get into and then the darkest time came stuff. But
yeah.
I say that because everybody comes off like Eugene Jarvis comes off as like a really interesting character. I don't know much about Eugene Jarvis at all, but like he seems like kind of fun and awesome in this.
He's just very classic, revered arcade designer.
And then like,
elder statesman.
You know, Warren Davis also comes off as like very humble, seemingly humble in this. I don't know, but he's just like, I don't really talk about that stuff a lot.
I mean, I got the impression that Warren was the sort of person that like will never talk about his own work unless you ask him directly about it. And since no one ever asked him about his work on Mortal Kombat, he just wasn't.
That's what he says like
it.
explicitly, right? He's like, I don't know, nobody asked me.
He both created Qbert and also like built an entire video capture and digitization.
These people
pipeline.
seem very smart. Yeah.
Like almost by himself. There's like one other guy programming it as well, but like these people did some work.
Yeah, these seem like real math nerds, let's say. So yeah, everybody comes off as pretty in a very positive light, right? They're not. This isn't like trying to trash anybody. And again, I understand that this is a mostly a celebration and promotional piece here, but like I really enjoyed it.
The thing I always go back to with these is Atari 50. That one had a little bit more of here's the warts on what happened for this company,
especially with management.
With management, especially. And I think part of the reason it's able to be that way is because Atari as a going concern is so different from the thing that they are talking about there, that there's very few people they can actually piss off, because most of those people are either scattered to the wind or no longer in video games or dead.
Yeah. And also in that case, enough shit has been talked about Nolan Bushnell publicly at this point. It's all like,
what's left to say?
It's all like well-trod ground at this point.
But like when they did the Llamasoft one, I did think that one was missing something, which was the kind of the real history of Jeff Minter and Atari that feels like it just never fully came out during that documentary.
Right, because he's got some legal strife with Atari and stuff.
Yeah, but in this one, I don't feel like there's a whole, like, again, I haven't listened or watched the entire thing. Vinny, it sounds like you have.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like there's a lot of story missing from what I've seen as far as like, unless if it's interpersonal beef, I can understand why that stuff didn't find its way into this documentary. As far as like what happened with Mortal Kombat, how the franchise kind of came to be, and sort of what the challenges were around that stuff. Like they talk some shit about the guy who programmed the Super Nintendo port of Mortal Kombat 1. You know, like
really?
That's the kind of thing where the little edge comes through, but it's not a lot.
That's a very fun segment of it where they, from Mortal Kombat 1 and Mortal Kombat 2, the home editions, they don't have the guy who did the Super Nintendo
they have the guy who did the Genesis one,
and they have the guy who picked up the work on the Super Nintendo one. He was the head of
Sculptured Software.
Sculptured Soft, yeah. Yep. And he says that he had to come in and basically interesting
he had to
thing.
Fix the work that guy was doing.
I don't need to get into it, Brad. I feel like you'll really like this part, but I guess midway in the arcade cabinets I'm going to dumb it down. I'm just going to. Sorry, paraphrase, but basically a multi-threaded way that the arcade game was handling tasks, and that did not work on the Genesis and Super Nintendo. And it sounds like on the Genesis side, the guy who worked on that took it, spent months just figuring out what the hell that process was and how it was doing, and then tried to implement that in the Genesis version. On the
he said he went line by line and basically adapted every line of code to what the Genesis was doing.
And then on the Super Nintendo side, it sounds like the guy they hired was a contractor. It sounds like the guy they hired was like, I don't like any of this, I'm going to do it my own way, and then started going down that road. And by the time it got near the end, it was like kind of unsalvageable.
Interesting.
It just needed to work to get it out the door.
I will not go too far down this road. It feels like there's a whole book to be written about weird, sloppy console ports,
especially
from that
Acclaim
era.
ones.
Because I've heard so many stories about like, oh, we farmed this out to a guy, and then 6 months later he had nothing to show, and then we had to spend 2 weeks dropping everything to do the port ourselves to meet contract obligations. Like, just lots of fun stuff.
It was fun listening to the Genesis guy, though, because he was talking about, like, for a long... It's what you described. For the longest time, it was a lot of work and literally nothing on the screen to show. But then by the time he got to the end of it, it almost all came together at once. Like, he just suddenly had a game that almost was perfect.
And then when it comes to MK2... the same guy who picked up the work, I think, again, I think he was pretty near the top on the Super Nintendo side, worked from the beginning on that. And he shows a letter he got that is just like the Midway people being like, wow, you did an awesome job. And then on the Genesis side, he's like, we did an okay job. But like, it's very funny to me, but he's like, the reason the Super Nintendo one runs better is because it runs at half the resolution that the Genesis ran at, and so we had the more memory to problems. That's why we didn't have the digitized speech, and they could fit it in there because it's half the resolution. So anyway, they're both fine. I'm just saying,
that's fun.
It's super fun.
Like, that's the kind of dirt they give you, and it's like, that's fine. Like, honestly, I was not coming in this to expect like a huge expose on like what the nature of the relationship between Tobias and Boone was in the end and all of that kind of stuff. Like, touching on that stuff is fine. That's kind of what I expect from a piece that is largely promotional like this. But the thing they're supplementing it with is just an absolute gobs and gobs of background details, videos, press releases, like the footage from the hearings in Congress of Joe Lieberman talking about fatalities and shit, and footage of them recording the original actors doing the games.
I mean, I've read every word of the arcade flyers that are in this for the pre-MK era, where there's like the flyers they put out to operators for like NARC and various pinball tables and stuff. Like, there's
NARC.
There's a lot in here if you really like that era of Midway.
And I do. Like, this is the stuff I come here for, and I feel like they've done a pretty exhaustive job with this.
Yeah. Like, I feel like I'm too biased to say, like, hey, I haven't finished this documentary yet, but B, I might be too biased to say whether this is the best one of these they've done so far or not, but it kind of feels like it.
I think Atari 50 is the most complete one they've done. This is probably a close second for me.
Okay.
I would even say the quality, the production value on this one is probably, for me, the best they've done. Like, it is. They have a lot of, they have more, I think, to work with in terms of archival footage here. Because you have a lot of the shoots from the green screen, quote unquote, green screen sessions. Those early ones are basically hard to watch because you're like, man, that's keying. It's not keying out, actually. It's just tracing out. It's just rasterizing. So,
I mean, they say Tobias was saying, like, as soon as he'd get the footage, like, literally the next day he would just start going through and then just like cleaning up frames. Like,
and it's VHS, so it's all blurry and
it's all blurry VHS bullshit. But like, it's what they had. There were 4 guys making this basically.
And again, just going back to what I said about, I don't know, you don't know the real story here or whatever, but even I forget, is it Sharp, the president or the like head of Midway, the guy with like the mustache, is the older guy.
That guy. I love that guy.
The marketing guy, I believe.
Is that who he is? Okay,
he's the guy that was
the one who had to sell it.
Yeah, he's like the guy who was trying to. He was the guy who reached out to Van Damme when they were trying to make this a Van Damme game.
Yeah.
Having that Van Damme video presentation in there is great.
Yeah, I think he was the head of marketing at the time.
So like that even he seems right. Like, it's all the kind of a lot of fun.
A lot of characters.
Yeah,
a lot of people who seem like characters in this. Like, the first time Sal DeVita showed up on screen in an interview role, and I was just like, oh my God, it's Nightwolf just sitting here talking.
Yeah, so if you have, I would say, if you have any nostalgia for Mortal Kombat, this is like catnip. Like this. I mean, I don't have a ton, but I just love watching it.
It's a must-have collection, absolutely. If you love old Mortal Kombat, I haven't played a ton of the games yet. I mean, there's a ton of games in here, but what they've done with the games seems all quite good.
I think they've done excellent work on these.
Like, my only little nitpick is I wish there were kind of global control settings that you could do. Like, the controls, you can remap controls, but it mostly all has to be done per game, as far as I can tell. Which is really just my way of saying I don't know who put block on left
L1.
bumper instead of right bumper. It's not to my taste.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes some of the inputs a little hard on the D-pad, but you can change it. It just, you have to do it multiple times.
So I found it fascinating. Again, I grew up during a lot of this. I have a love for Mortal Kombat. It was the thing I played during high school lunch, when I'd leave. And I was definitely around for, and they talk about it. I think you mentioned it, Alex, too, the kind of marketing blitz and Mortal Kombat mania, and they spend a lot of time on the commercial, just how
Mortal Monday,
yeah, the whole thing, like it's really was a phenomenon.
And I know we've talked about this before with our Mortal Kombat histories or whatever, but it was nice to see other people talking about like the whole phenomenon of going on the internet, printing out move lists and things and bringing them to your local arcade, because that was definitely the first and only video game I ever did that for was MK2 and 3.
Yeah.
And they talk a little bit about Boone. It doesn't explicitly say it, or if he does, maybe he just mentions it once, and around Mortal Kombat 2, I think, maybe thinking they were figuring out fatalities too fast, and maybe it was even Jeff saying that, like, they changed all the fatalities because they were figuring them out too quickly, and Boone is like, yeah, at some point I just had to give in and realize the internet's just gonna outpace us. I
believe Jeff describes it as the most devious, mean-spirited thing they ever did in one of those games was change all the fatality commands.
I mean, I don't know how the commands in Mortal Kombat seem inscrutable to me to figure out. It's coming from Street Fighter. I don't know how people have figured out or did figure out stuff without some kind of hint for fatalities, because there's distance involved. There's like holding down.
Like the idea that people were discovering fatalities entirely on their own always seemed complete bullshit to me. There are so many variables. The timing window is so short.
Distance,
and there are so many variables.
But someone was doing it.
Between distance and different button combinations and stuff, like I always just assumed that stuff was spreading by word of mouth.
Right? Like they said they. I mean, there's some conflicting information in the thing, but they said they didn't. Or Boone said they didn't.
There's one guy who said that the first time they had it out,
Boone went over
for playtest in a local arcade. At one point, Boone walked up and did the Kano heart rip, but did not show anyone how he did it, and then walked away from the cabinet. Boone kind of denies it, but at the same time, that sounds like the kind of thing they totally would have done to tease people.
I'm going to say again, there is no knowledge that is not power, because like the first time I did an animality in my local arcade, which I'm positive was the first time an animality had been done in that arcade.
Mm-hmm.
Like the feeling of power of doing that exact thing, because like there were like 8 people around, and like the kid I beat was just like, how'd you do it? Because I had been on AOL and had a FAQ basically. It's like it was that experience can never be replicated again.
I was 100% the first person to do a friendship for MK2 when that came around into our arcades. Like I had done the research, and as soon as I did, I forget who it was that has the rainbow one.
Raiden.
Yeah, so I did that one.
I think no, that's Kid Thunder. Who is the rainbow?
Yeah, he's Kid Thunder. Is that Shang Tsung?
Yeah, I think that's right, actually, yes.
I did the rainbow one, I remember, and the person I was playing against looked at me and was like, what the fuck did you just do?
Some other stuff that I just thought was really interesting, especially early on. I thought it was interesting to hear Boone say that, he obviously Street Fighter 2 had been out, and he was like, I liked when you can dizzy somebody, but I hated being dizzy. And he's like, that was the inspiration for the fatality, was like, oh, just dizzy them at the end of the match, and now you'll get your free hit in there. And he's like, before we had fatalities, everybody would just do the uppercut, because the uppercut is the best
biggest
thing.
Move you can do.
Yeah. And then they had I think they had a move where it was Shang Tsung would cut your head off, right? And like
with a sword.
With a sword, and then he just basically put it on Johnny Cage doing an uppercut and knocking somebody's head off, and everybody was like, "Dude, that's the what are you talking about? This is the thing." And that's kind of a fun story.
They also have, in addition to the character art they never used, like the version of Katana that didn't get used in 1, like the Striker and all that. They also have the animations for the fatalities they didn't use and moves they didn't use.
Wow.
Like there's a Johnny Cage jump kick that they didn't end up using because it looked kind of awkward. There's the head cut by Shang Tsung, and then there's a Goro fatality where he reaches in and crushes your head that they didn't end up using. It doesn't look great, but like you can tell they were like that was the test run for animation for that.
Can you imagine if they had stuck to Johnny Cage's original name of Michael Grimm?
Yeah,
not great.
Yeah.
Not nearly as catchy.
Like those Tobias notebooks are
awesome.
fucking gold.
I had that comic book.
Like, but the like the actual notebooks where he was just like brainstorming all the character ideas and which archetype do they all fit into, and here's all the lore behind the tournament. Like, it's just so fun reading through this dude's just like linear creative process, you know?
You could tell it is coming from like a real natural place. Like, this is just the thing he wants to make, right?
And it is so obviously just kid grew up with kung fu films.
Totally.
Yeah, it's that Wu-Tang thing of there is just a real appreciation for 100%. This whole genre.
100%. It's so fun.
And, you know, okay, so they go into all of that stuff, and I think the MK1 stuff is very long, but it's necessary to set all of this up. And then there's 2, and everybody loses their mind on 2. And then, so, look, I've been around you guys for a long time, and Jeff, and a lot of MK people. And so I know, I didn't really live this, but I know that there is some run button people out there and not run button people out there. And they go into it a little bit in this, but not a huge divide. They kind of, in this, they mostly seem to side with the run button and the dial-a-combo stuff.
Yeah, I don't mind the run button. It was the dial-a-combos that I didn't love.
That was not my favorite either.
And so, you know, they go into it a little bit, but they generally have a positive view on it. The only thing that starts to get a little bit weird is around 4, where it's the move to 3D. And even I knew this was kind of a rough one. Mm-hmm. It's the one with the weapons. I think Boone says at some point we should have just made a weapon button, not made it a combination you had to put in to take out a weapon. We should have just had a dedicated weapon button. And it's funny because internally the interviews are mostly like, look, we felt like 3D was the way to go. This was a bold move. We had to take a swing. And mostly the side interviews of people who played it are like, yeah, 4 is the one I really kind of fell off of a little bit.
Yeah, same.
4, I didn't play 4 at all. I'm not sure I've ever seen a 4 machine in person.
I've seen a 4 machine in person, but I had the N64 version of Mortal Kombat 4, and let me tell you, that's not the one you want to play.
I think I might have played it on Dreamcast. Maybe it was the place I played it, but it just never did much for me. But at the same time, they didn't really have a choice.
Yeah.
If they had stuck to just ever nicer digitized graphics, they would have been like left in the dustbin of history.
They mostly say that, right?
Like people, you know, like nobody wanted to play 2D games once 3D started getting big.
I think the bigger thing for me in 4 is that directionally, it feels like that is the bridge point to the PS2 era of Mortal Kombat, which is the least memorable era of Mortal Kombat. Like, that game, I think, has some ideas that are interesting, and it has a couple of characters, obviously, that have stuck around, loom large in the memory. Quan Chi, I'm looking at you. But beyond that, it's really just the signal that, like, this is the direction we're going in, and I never loved that direction.
Yeah, and they pretty much say as much, like you guys just said, that like this was just a giant learning curve on this stuff. Everything had to change, but without this, we would have never gotten to, you know, the more recent 3D MKs.
Yeah.
And you know, what are we gonna do? Stay behind. They do is it mythologies? I think Jeff has a whole thing. He's the only one talking about mythologies for the mythologies section. I don't know much about that game at all.
Well, they should have got, what's his name? Mike Minotti, mythologies expert on there to talk about that.
I do think it's very funny that the achievements, to get all the achievements requires you finishing Special Forces and I believe also mythologies.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's mean.
You have to play all the way through those games to get all the achievements.
That's very mean.
But yeah, I think it's a really, really great viewing, even if you pay $50 to come in for the documentary side of it. If you have some interest in this stuff, I will play these games. I'm not going to play all of them, but I have fond memories, and going back and playing this specific like SNES version definitely was unlocking some old memories of being I remember these sounds.
An oft-rented game.
Yeah.
Played a ton of the SNES version of that game.
Yeah, that was my friend's house game.
And it's the online play that I'm waiting for. Like I said, like it's like I am somewhat considering trying to figure out a stick situation for my PS5.
Okay.
To play this properly online. I'm not. I want to see how big the population is first.
And again, this is probably the best way you're going to be able to play these games for a long time, because a lot of these other, like the earlier Mortal Kombat collections and stuff, like I remember not being great ports. Like, and I feel like in the last time they tried to do this, the online code was not that great. So as long as that, you know, rollback netcode and everything holds up, this is probably the ideal way to play Mortal Kombat's 1 through 4 for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, they're adding. I'm straight up reading from the review guide here in the post-launch plan section, but they're adding a more robust online mode apparently post-release. Like right now, it's just straight up like just really basic quick matches, which again I haven't actually gotten to try yet. But a robust online. Well, okay, I'll paraphrase this. They're adding like a mode with more robust like player lobbies and spectator mode and stuff
more
like
that.
More
like an arcade straight up situation.
They're also adding something called the Chronicle of the Realms, an illustrated guide to the lore and narrative of the series.
Wow.
So I don't know what that's about because they've already got all those character bios in there.
I mean, if it brings in some of the comic book stuff, that'd be cool. And, you know, some more. I mean, again, the comic book stuff mostly goes up to foreign mythology. So you're not going to get the reboot stuff at all, but
yeah, that's fine. I think this is
what this is. This
is a documentary of the like true heyday of the series. Even though it obviously sells incredibly well, still.
I actually really like the new stuff. Story wise,
11 is like probably my second favorite MK game after 2.
I think it's just a very. It's again. I said this about the Atari one. If you're going to do something like this is probably the new high watermark, right? This is
easily.
This is like. You know, it probably takes a lot of effort. You need a good foundation, right? A good MK is a great one. There's such a rich story there behind.
You need
access, and you need access. And you know, knock on wood, get these things done. I knock on wood because like who knows what's going to happen with NetherRealm and Warner Brothers. Like get these things done while you can, right? Like
totally.
Or like
I do kind of wonder if there was a little bit of a pressure of like, you know, we should do this now while things are relatively stable for Mortal Kombat.
Like I don't know if they show more of this later, but the Goro maquette that is photographed early on in the documentary stuff is like a great visual metaphor for exactly what you're talking about. Because like the foam latex is breaking down over time on that Goro statue. So like time is of the essence to kind of document all of this stuff in all cases.
Yeah, because who knows, like, you know, where some of this footage will go. They have a lot of that old VHS footage of them, again, shooting some of the characters. And again, Mortal Kombat's a great one because you have actual, like, I don't know, for me, it sounds like FMV, but you have, like, real people footage, right? Like, you have, you know, footage of real actors doing these things, which is fun to watch.
There was a lady doing that front flip that kind of eventually gets morphed into Sonya's leg thing, you know, like her takedown move.
Or it's just like MK is just at that time is just such an interesting nexus of cultural and technological trends, you know, like you've got the ultra violence that was blowing up in this and other games.
I mean, it spawned the ESRB, right?
Made it all the way to Congress and affected video game ratings. You had like the burgeoning like digitization technology coming about,
the fighting game scene,
the trend of fighting games. There's like so many different elements that MK represents in kind of time and place game history.
The move away from pinball, let's say. So real fun. Another fun story that's in there, and you know, I'll leave it for people to go watch because I don't think there's any concrete answer given, though you kind of get a sense of who came up with the K in Mortal Kombat.
That's my next segment in the documentary.
Who did it? It seems like most of the people remember one way. Maybe one other person remembers a different way.
It's kind of generally how these things always work.
Yeah. And they qualify mostly with like, look, this is how I remember it. Okay. This is the thing. So pretty fun. Again, as far as these things go, as a celebration of a franchise, not necessarily like a learn everything about the dirt. It's pretty awesome.
Like I would happily have taken twice this much material, but I think like objectively speaking, it's like very rich.
Yeah.
With detail. You know, like you couldn't have
well
asked for
presented.
more. Like, I would have eaten up 2 or 3 times as much material as is in here, but there's already a ton in here. Like you can't knock it for that. Maybe it's just a testament to how good it is and what's already in here that I just want more.
Yeah. This is absolutely one of these types of things that Digital Eclipse has put out, and you know, and now Under Atari's put out, that this is probably, I think Atari still is my favorite one, just in terms of scope and scale and being so fresh and new. This is probably my second favorite. I mean, this is just so well done. It's really an unbeatable thing if you are a fan of the early MK stuff, and you get all the MK games. And like, I don't know, I didn't know much about, was it MK MK Ultimate. What's the one with all the characters in it?
Oh, that's Trilogy.
Trilogy?
MK3 or Trilogy? Ultimate MK3 is just an updated release.
No, Trilogy.
Trilogy is the one where they literally ROM hacked the game to put like Johnny Cage and a few other people in it.
Trilogy is just the kitchen sink, stupid fucking here's everything we've ever made, palette swapping,
that just
more
seems
sprites.
So bizarre. I didn't really even know about it. Is that playable
It was
online?
only a home game. They never put that out in arcades.
I don't know if that one is online or not.
I think all the main ones are. So I wonder if that one is.
I don't think they didn't even make that. Wasn't that was another developer that made Trilogy,
that was
if I'm not
outsourced.
mistaken.
Yeah, again, that was an all-home version. I will say they apparently made this version better because they fixed the Shang Tsung loading animation.
Yeah,
so
that this loaded off CD on PlayStation. So and it was the same thing with MK3 on the PlayStation, which I bought at launch. Like that was a launch PlayStation game, which was like a perfect arcade port of MK3 with the exception of it has to stop and load every time you Shang Tsung morph, and so they fixed that here.
So I forget exactly the pedigree on it, but I think it's a bunch of people because they talk about Trilogy who worked on the originals who had left to start a studio. So there were some ex people on it, and they're like, we kind of know how a lot of this stuff works already. We can put all this stuff into the game.
Oh, Trilogy, God, you're right. It is.
Trilogy.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at the credits. I guess like they absolutely the same people were involved in Trilogy. It looks like
Trilogy is a weird obsession of mine because it is such a weird bootsy product. Like we're just taking the characters that did not appear in 3 that are from 1 and 2, and we're gonna find a way to jam them in there. And here's all the secret ninjas and all this other shit.
Yeah.
And it's just like. It's not like the original home versions of that game are not great. Like they don't play amazing. And then there's the loading stuff you talk about. But conceptually, I love it because it's such a hacked together idea. Like just, yeah, sure. Put a Baraka fucking model in there and a weird looking Johnny Cage. Why not?
Yeah. It's like I'm looking at a screenshot right now of MK1 Johnny Cage and MK1 Raiden on an MK2 background. You know, it's honestly, it's like MK itself is such a pastiche of stupid kung fu references and stuff that this being a pastiche of MK stuff onto one disc feels pretty appropriate.
It's kind of amazing.
The last detail I'll mention before we move on, the idea that a bunch of the graphics for like backgrounds in the first MK were straight up videoed from things around Chicago
or books.
Like Chicago's Chinatown.
Blew my mind. Blew my mind. It's just like, oh, this gate from Chicago Chinatown is the gate behind Shang Tsung.
The pagoda,
in the or the pagoda in the courtyard background. Like this.
One of the thrones that Shang Tsung is sitting in is just a vase that he photographed in a Chinatown, like, China shop.
Right. It's crazy. Like he was just running around Chicago with a video camera, taking video reference that then went straight into the game.
Yeah, it's funny when they get to the 3D stuff. One of the artists or somebody's like, hey man, I can make some of these things, and we don't have to like scan them out of books or videotape it. I can kind of make this now, and they're like, all right, why don't you give it a try? We'll see how it goes. Which is pretty funny. I think that was in 2 or 3 where the backgrounds, not the characters, were started to become more 3D stuff. And then they paint over them.
Sure. This thing rules, man. Like, if you just don't care at all about Mortal Kombat, this is probably not for you. But like, I'm trying to think how to put this. Like, I hope everybody who loves a property as much as I love MK gets one of these,
right?
Totally
for their property. You know what I mean? Like, I know this is like not an easy sell for some publishers, and it probably takes a lot more money than a lot of companies would want to invest, or it's too risky, a proposition. But like, I'd give anything if every storied franchise could get one of these.
Yeah. Like I know you would want like your you'd probably want like your id one, right? Like
that's the number one. It was basically like Doom and Quake is number 1 and MK was number 2 for me. But like, I'd take these for things I'm actually less invested in. Like a History of Capcom would be fantastic,
or
Rare, like you name it. Like just about any company,
Konami,
any franchise has like anything.
Because they had that Rare collection, but like it's different when you have the context.
When you have people there
stuff.
talking about it and kind of giving you the history. Like that's the thing. I'll say real fast is just that even if you don't care about Mortal Kombat, if you have even a passing interest in old video game history, there is still some appeal here, even if you don't love playing Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
games.
you know what, you're right. Like absolutely. I mean,
My
it is
son
$50
watched it with me.
Really? Yeah. Like there is actually enough in here about just how video games were made generally in the 90s that like there was one detail in here that like I've kind of gotten this sense over time listening to developers talk about stuff, but I forget who it was. Like John Vogel, I think, is the one who comes out and says explicitly like, oh, a lot of people think it's the management walking in their suits and saying like, hey, digitized fighting game, go. That's what you're making now. But like, it's actually totally the opposite. It's at least for us, it was a very bottom up approach of like, we were just a bunch of 20 somethings spitballing things we loved and what we wanted to make. And then we had those ideas and took them to management and they were like, yeah, that sounds great. Go for it. And like,
figure out how to do it within this budget.
Like it seems like that is much more common in terms of like how like the ideation process works in game development,
or
even
worked
at
that time.
Yeah,
there just kind of piggyback on that sentiment. There's a thing later on when they're talking about nobody said a thing. I think Boone and Tobias are both saying it. Nobody really said a peep when this was in the arcade, but as soon as it came to home consoles and people were like, "This is for the kids," and they're like, like you just said, it's like, we were a bunch of 20-something dudes making games for 20-something dudes. Like, we never intended this to be played by kids. This was really a game we made because this is the thing we wanted to play. The other thing I'll say about the management thing is there's a lot of that of like, we were just making the game we wanted to make.
Yeah.
And the other thing that gets hammered home a lot, if you watch the whole entirety of this thing, is memory restrictions and like how much
that governed like everything.
How many frames need to be cut? Why you have the palette swaps on the ninjas?
Boone flat out says, "Yeah, we have palette swaps because we need to save memory." I've never known if the game is doing the palette swap on the fly. Like, are all those frames just in storage once and the colors are getting changed by the game at runtime, or are they?
Maybe.
Anyway,
maybe.
I don't know, because like, again, they did at least have to film different animations for the different
stances.
ninjas.
Yeah, but they would share all the like punches and sweeps and like common attacks. The stances are different, but they would still.
And when they film them, they're in the same colored outfit.
Right.
So
it's the yellow ninja outfit the whole time.
Yeah.
The thing that they get into, and again, you guys might know this already. I did not, but I guess in Mortal Kombat 3 and Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, Scorpion and Sub-Zero, original Scorpion or original Sub-Zero are unlockable in Ultimate. They did the arcade refresh, and it's Katana and
Melina.
Yeah, Melina. And he said the reason that those characters is because of the palette swaps, because it made it easier. They could squeeze the most out of the memory to unlock those for the arcade, and like we just went with the palette swapped characters because
it's all pretty mercenary.
It's pretty mercenary.
It's like, hey, this allowed us to get more characters on the board. Also, we did UMK3 so that there would still be a reason for people to go to the arcade even when the home versions came out.
Yeah, and like they talk about all the frames they have to keep cutting because they're like, oh my god, we just can't fit this game on a cartridge.
Like, there's that great side by side in MK1 of like, here's what we wanted the Scorpion spear throw animation to look like. Here's what we ended up with, like literally side by side. Like, here's how many frames we had to cut.
And some of it's for action, some of it's for like playability, but some of it's just like we can't fit this stuff in. So it like just in terms of game development stuff, some really fun sausages made. How the sausage is made in terms of compromises, and sometimes compromises being the things that are the most memorable about a game. All right, that's Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. It's $50. It's out on the PC and the Switch. Is there and that's actually at the time of this recording, or going up, I should say. It's October 30th, so it is the day this podcast goes up. I only have copied down here the PC and Switch releases, though. There must be day and date with other consoles. Yeah,
it's everything.
Everything. Okay,
as far as I know. Although they go out of their way to mention multiple places. I think it's MK4 is not playable online on the Switch 1, I believe, is the restriction.
Oh, okay.
I think that's the one thing that one of the versions is lacking.
Interesting.
Memory constraints. It haunts. I don't know if that's true, but it haunts us.
I'm sure there's something weird with the architecture there that just made that more of a challenge they were willing to engage with.
Technical limitations. The original Nintendo Switch does not support online play for Mortal Kombat 4. That's
very funny. That's a hell of a game. Hell
awesome.
of a collection.
It's so great.
It's always great when you see something done well, right? Like when you're like, it's hard to really complain about this one if you're an MK fan. And even if you're not, I think there might be something there for you as well. So kudos to them. We're going to take a break. We're going to talk about some other things, and then we'll have our Death Stranding 2 check-in later on towards the end here. But for right now, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in just a moment. Stick around. And we are back. And Moving on, another game, pleasantly surprised, is caught my attention. Jackbox Party Pack 11. We played a lot of these. We had Jackbox's own Rich Gallup and Abby Russell on to play with us last Friday. Apparently Rich, and full disclaimer, apparently Rich is actually a lead on this one. But this one's kind of awesome. And take that for what you will. If you believe me or not, that's up to you. But I think the games in this one were a lot of fun. Though I am curious how that audio one, the one where you make the sounds, plays in a room of people. Yeah,
I was going to say that one feels very, I'm not going to guess at their intent with it, but it feels very tailor-made for streaming.
Yeah.
Or it is a mode that uses your voice to control things, both record things and also in between the recording stupid quips and phrases. Straight up, just like the volume of your voice controls this action game type shit.
Yeah, you can imagine like a Flappy Bird style game where your pitch or your volume makes you go up and down.
There's 5 people on a stream going like like just stupid shit.
Tell me more. I think there was, what is it? It's the Suspectives, I think it was the one where the social deduction one.
I think that's right.
I think that one might have been my least favorite one because that's always a question of like, do you just lie or do you like play along and let people
that one was a lot to take in.
Yeah. Doominate was the one where I think you ruin everything. I really like that one where you take like a positive thing, ruin it all. The Cookie House, where that's kind of your draw,
like your TKO.
Yeah, your TKO
equivalent.
You're drawing one. Before I get the other one, Hearsay is the one we're talking about the audio, and then Legends of Trivia is probably the most ambitious one, which is like
Trivia. Please.
Oh, sorry, Trivia.
So it sounds fantasy-ish.
Yeah, which is the one where you're basically in a almost like tabletop RPG game answering trivia together cooperatively.
Yeah, you're working together to try and defeat monsters with trivia.
Yeah, but solid pack on him. I didn't really know there was a Jackbox 11 coming.
I mean, it's a calendar year, so usually there is a Jackbox coming.
Yeah,
they crank those things out.
They do. Mm-hmm. So good on them. If you're looking for a new Jackbox and you weren't aware that there was a new Jackbox, Party Pack 11 seems like a pretty solid pack to me.
I think it's the best one of the last few, honestly.
I think pound for pound, the games in it, again, except for maybe the social deduction one, or if you're playing in a room with people, the audio one, because I'm just not sure how that would play. Like while you're all recording your voices together would be a little weird, but yeah. All right, that's Jackbox Party Pack 11 out now. And just for completeness sake, that's $30. We finished Dead Reset. Just quick check in here. That is the Wales Interactive quote unquote horror game. Yeah. I think it's fair to say it is in the horror vein.
Yeah, definitely.
It's the premise being that you're in some kind of time looping business and a little Edge of Tomorrow like. I think we got the worst ending. I'll put it on Abby's shoulders.
Definitely did.
Abby got the worst ending, and I think the worst ending was actually pretty great. For that game,
it's a good bad ending.
Yeah.
Like it is exactly the kind of suffering you want to see if you have fucked up your path through this game.
Yeah, that's $15. I recommend it. I think it was a pretty fun time, and I'll always support some good FMV games. I'll always even support mediocre FMV games, but I think this one is definitely worth checking out. That's a Dead Reset. You guys have anything else you want to jump into?
Katamari, baby.
Oh yeah,
it's
Katamari.
Back.
What'd you think?
Yeah, what is that one? Like, I feel like, well, I don't know. I guess the answer about what is every Katamari is not made by Keita Takahashi is kind of the answer.
But this is Once Upon a Katamari, right?
Yeah. What is new with this one?
So this is it's $30. It's $50 if you buy like the special edition that gives you like a bunch of the old soundtracks that you can play in the background if you want to. It is, I think, a fully featured, generally, Katamari game. The premise of this one is that, yet again, the King of all Cosmos has destroyed various parts of the cosmos, and the thing you are doing is you're going back in time and collecting Earth's memories. So, like, the first level is, like, Edo-era Japan. The second one is, like, Wild West. and it kind of goes from there. Each of those has like a handful of stages you go through before you kind of time travel to the next area. And then along the way, you're doing a lot of the same stuff you normally do, rolling up cousins, getting unlockables for your prince. There's power-ups now. So, like, you know, you can collect power-ups in the stage that, for instance, there's a magnet that will help for a short time, like, pull things to your Katamari as you're rolling around.
And that's new?
There's another... I don't know if that's new, but okay. I don't remember that.
It's not classic.
It's not classic.
Yeah.
There's another one that lets you like rocket super fast in one direction if you just want to like roll up a whole bunch of shit at once. But the basic thing is it's more Katamari, and it is still a post-Kata Katamari. I think this is probably technically the best one they've made. I mean, it obviously looks great. It still looks like Katamari. They didn't over-juice the graphics, but it definitely is a very sharp-looking version of this game, and it plays well, and the soundtrack's really good. Fundamentally, though, there is just a different spirit to every Katamari game that came after Keita Takahashi because it is just a different philosophy. Keita Takahashi makes weird explorations of play that sometimes feel like video games. Namco makes video games.
Right.
And that's what they've done here. They've made the video game again.
Right.
I mean, it's one of the situations where this, like, kind of radically creative impulse then became institutionalized, and now they are just cranking them out, you know?
I mean, I wouldn't say cranking them out because they really only make one of these every handful of years, and sometimes it's just remakes of the old ones, but
what I mean is, like, they are all fundamentally kind of the same game at the core, or, like, you know, like, maybe a different way to put it is, like, things that he probably did not consider remotely sacred about these games now are, you know?
Right.
Like you said, he makes, like, differently weird shit every time he makes something.
Yeah.
And these games are all very much of a kind.
And I'm at peace with the fact that no Katamari will ever scratch the same itch for me that the first two did.
Sure.
Because philosophically, they are just different things. Like, obviously, he was making them under the auspices of Namco, so it was very much a video game product, but there was still like again, it's an intangible thing. It's hard to describe, but it's just there is a philosophical difference that you can feel when you play the later ones versus those first two. And that difference is not ruinous to my enjoyment by any stretch. I think this is a very well-made Katamari game. I've had a lot of fun with it so far. I think the writing around the edges is quite good. And again, the soundtrack is a banger in a slightly different way than maybe the best ones are, but still very enjoyable. But it's never going to recapture that same spirit for me. And I think I'm just okay with that now. It's like, okay, these are still just fun products. That's fine. I will never get that feeling again. That's all right.
That feeling's gone.
It is, but that's coming to terms with stuff as you get older. It's like, hey, there was just a spirit and an aura to those first two games that is part and parcel with the person who led those teams.
I mean, we will get into this in the news section, but I would 100% agree. There is a time and a place in people's lives, and a time and a place in the industry, and a time and a place to be I'm trying to think of the right word here. It's not the vanguard, but to be different, you know, to be the thing that is different and unique and be like, oh, yes, this is refreshing. To be refreshing, I should say.
Original Katamari Damacy was avant-garde at a time when lots of video games were still weird.
Especially in the West, especially stuff coming into the West. It was like, oh, this is some Japanese shit coming to the West.
But it was even beyond that. Like, there was lots of weird Japanese shit that came out around the edges, especially in the PlayStation and PlayStation 2 era. But like that game and its follow-up were singularly weird in a way that I feel like almost nothing else quite felt like it.
Yeah, there's like a certain zest to these games. Really
a joie de vivre.
Pretty singular.
Yeah.
Anyway, I do think this one is good, though, and for $30, it seems like worth it if you just have fun with these games and don't care that much about the spiritual stuff that I am wrestling with.
$40. $40.
I thought it was 30.
Maybe it's $40 on Steam, and it's 60 for the
you know what? You're right. I think you're right. Sorry, that was on me.
It's 60 for the King of All Sounds edition.
It's a good name,
which has the soundtrack.
Yeah. That's Once Upon
Even for $40, I think it's still worth it.
Once Upon a Katamari, out now, I believe, probably everywhere, right? That's probably.
I think so. At least on all the console platforms and PC.
Yeah. All right. That's Mortal Kombat. It's Jackbox. That's Dead Reset. That's Once Upon a Katamari.
Guys still playing Ball Pit? Is there anything else to say there?
I haven't touched it.
I am still playing.
I've moved that game to my Steam Deck, and I've been playing that a little bit more, just sort of when I'm sitting in front of the TV at night, just doing a couple of runs every night.
Seems like
lovely.
a good handheld game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that and Mega Bonk both work very well on the Steam Deck. So that's been my kind of like, I don't want to think right now. I'm just going to play dumb shit video games for the last couple of weeks.
Are you still playing Mega Bonk? I haven't touched it in like 3 weeks, which I consider kind of a personal victory.
Yeah, I'm not obsessed with it, but I will dip in like every few nights or so and just do a couple of runs and then move on. And now that there's new Vampire Survivors DLC, maybe I will never touch Mega Bonk again.
They did Balatro DLC for Vampire Survivors, apparently.
They also updated the Castlevania DLC with more stuff.
Great. I think I'm feeling a little more positive in general about Ball Pit now.
Yeah, the runs are still good.
I think the thing for me is that I really started going hard on upgrading buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Like I specifically started upgrading all the scaling buildings, It's like, oh, now your dexterity scaling is a C instead of a D, that kind of thing.
Right.
Like getting your stats scaling. This is the Dark Souls lesson, right?
Sure.
You always want the thing with the best stat scaling.
It's pushing you through the later levels, you feel like?
I'm it's getting a little bit more
competitive.
Yes, although I still cannot fucking stand that character that fires from the back of the screen.
Interesting. Yeah,
still just cannot beat a run with that fucking character.
But
I've got the building now that lets you combine 2 characters together.
Oh, I didn't know that existed.
I haven't built it yet. I don't have enough resources, but yeah, you get a building that lets you pick 2 characters going into a run and have them paired together with both of their abilities.
Okay.
I don't know if that counts for completion on each stage though. Like if you complete a stage with 2 characters using that building, you get, because this game
bonus for both.
Because this game is very much about beating each stage with each character.
That would is there a primary when you fuse? Like you push one into the other?
I haven't finished the building that lets you do that yet, so I'm not sure.
Interesting. All right, maybe it'll tell you in the.
I was really teetering on the edge of like, am I gonna like kind of play everything in this or put it down? And I think I might have pushed past that into the I'm going to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
On it.
Well, speaking of keeping on going, should we?
Oh, I know what this is.
Should we transition into our check-in with?
Yes,
get in there, guys. What's going on?
You are definitely further than me in the story now, so I don't have a ton to contribute there. But I need to just rip the Band-Aid off, and like I am very much sitting at a like Fragile and a Doll Man both being like, hey, you should go wrap up any unfinished business before you go rest in your room and trigger the next cutscene.
So again, I don't think we'll spend actually too long in here because I'm going to wait for you to kind of make a little bit more progress before we sink in. But here's your general Death Stranding 2 spoiler warning as we kind of near the end. And I say near the end because, who knows where these games go? Who knows if you're going to get credit sequence 1 to credit sequence 15, I'm
on chapter 9. I'm expecting 7 more chapters before this is over. So, and I'm not exaggerating.
Okay. I am, I'm considerably further than you. Do you want to even hear what chapter I'm on?
Sure. I mean,
so I think, so sometimes the chapters get weird because I feel like I get a trophy before I get the next chapter.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I feel like the chapters are pretty arbitrary in this game because they're so variable in length. Like you might spend 20 hours in one chapter.
One whole chapter was cutscenes.
And then 20 minutes in another chapter.
I'm either in 13 or I think I got the trophy for finishing 13, but I don't remember seeing the title card for 14 yet.
Yeah, I really need to just rip the Band-Aid off. Like I have lost not all my momentum, but a lot of the momentum for like, I was never going out of my way to max each location, but I did want to get the best sounding upgrades. But even that, I feel like the getting around on the mountain and finding enough cargo and side orders to even level up the locations has gotten so hard at this point that
really
I don't think
sucks the stamina out of you, both literally and like metaphorically.
It's a bummer because there's some stuff I really want. Like I really would love to get that level 3 Boca skeleton.
Yeah.
There's 1 or 2 others I'm trying to remember. It might be like the aeronautics engineer that has a thing I want. I forget. Like better jump ramps. There's like a lot of fun sounding mechanical stuff, but I just don't think I have it in me to slog through the work to get that stuff.
I think from where if I remember correctly, from where you are, again, this is a pretty big spoiler stuff. We don't usually talk too much about story, but from where you are, the part where Higgs comes onto the ship, right, is where you said you are, that cutscene.
I like triggered that cutscene because I wanted to see like, oh, they're telling me like, Ray, wrap up your business.
Yeah.
Like I want to know what that's going to get me into. But then when I got into that and I was like, oh, I'm really going to be out of the game for a while, aren't I? And then I stopped.
I think you get pretty much not railroaded towards, you get propelled towards kind of a urgency, right?
Yeah,
like the game doesn't necessarily stop you from going to do deliveries, but like thematically it feels urgent. Like, hey, you should do this thing now. I also think they take the Magellan away from you for a while. I think they lock it up in the tar.
That's a non-starter then.
Yeah.
For getting things done for sure.
Yeah. And that happens quite a bit towards the end where they're just like, hey man, we're not moving. Like you're going to have to go get me a MacGuffin before I can move again. I got up to a boss battle where I am, and this happens to me on another boss battle. It was a BT boss battle where I am, and I was like, okay, great. I got my EX grenades. I brought them with me. Let's do this thing. Summoned some BTs to fight along. Missed or hit, but didn't hit the right spot with 2 EX grenades, and the summoned BTs killed the boss. And I'm pretty sure I can go do this again some other way. I don't think they lock you out. I looked it up, but I was like, nope, hard reset. Yep. That fight wasn't that hard. I'm just gonna go take this one again. Yeah, hopefully it checkpointed me before the boss. When
I did the Lord of the Lake fight, or the Lord of the Tar Lake, did you know that other players can summon BTs into your game?
No.
Like how players will like players, they're just AI.
Wait, randomly they can do that
with PSN names on them. But yes, in the same way that random people will pop out of the tar to like throw you weapons.
Yeah, like a blood grenade or something.
Toward the end of that first time I did the Tar Lake Lord fights, a guy popped out of the tar and held up the shining beacon thing.
Hell yeah.
And summoned the octopoid, I think it was.
Maybe that was me, because I summoned that thing during that fight.
Well, whoever did it, the BT they summoned without my involvement fucking killed that thing before I could capture it.
Yeah, that one's hard to capture because it's like flying around.
Yes, it is. So I had to do that whole fight over because the game just beat it for me.
Yeah, again, I like those BT fights are sometimes they're long. That one felt long to me.
Yeah,
and extremely. Also the run up to it is a little long because you have to trudge through the tar.
Coffin board, man.
Did you? But then you just ditched it.
Yeah, well, they're not that expensive, and also, like I said, people leave them lying around everywhere in my game. But coffin boards are not only do they go on water and tar, they actually are faster and more efficient, less battery consumption. Like you fly on the water with those things.
So I saw a lot of pro coffin board chatter happening. You talked about it. So I switched over to the coffin board in the mountains. Man,
not so much.
More trouble than it's worth.
Oh, it's a supplement, not a replacement. Absolutely.
Because sometimes I fucked up so much cargo on that thing.
Yes, dude, I've reloaded so many times when I fucking bailed and ate shit on a coffin board and wrecked all my cargo. Like, yes, it actually can be incredibly frustrating. It's a nice tool to have in the box, not a full replacement for the truck.
Can you land? Is there a button to like bend your knees and land softly or something?
Think so. If there is, I don't know about it, and that's generally when I will break everything.
Yes, like just like hit the ground. Yes, especially when it's like a pure whiteout in the mountains and you're just like cruising. You're like, oh god. The other thing that happens, which I think is kind of funny but also kind of annoying, is occasionally I'll hit one of the jumps with not enough speed, and it'll be a jump that is supposed to like clear the cliff face, but it doesn't quite clear the cliff face, and you get stuck like halfway down a very long cliff in a truck, and you're like, well, shit, this is going to explode as soon as I drive off of here. But the reloads are pretty quick and actually fairly generous. As long as you did a delivery like within the last couple of minutes, you're usually pretty good. So I've just reloaded as well, especially if there's something volatile in the truck and except it just goes off and explodes.
You don't want to release that VOG.
No, it's bad, the VOD gas. So yeah, I think I'm probably a session away. I would assume I am a session away from finishing, but yes, it's
maybe a long session.
I've heard there's a lot of story at the end.
Dollman sitting in the Magellan turned to me, or didn't turn to me. I hit triangle on him, and he said, "Hey Sam, it feels like a pretty big cutscene. Make sure you're ready for this."
Did he literally use the word cutscene?
Yeah.
That's so great.
I think from where I am. From where you are to where I am, not necessarily all gameplay wise, there's a little bit of slogging, but it's kind of fantastic.
Okay, I'm excited to see it.
I think the cutscenes and stuff actually are really great. There's some really good action. There's some. That game got me a little teary-eyed, if you can imagine. There's a part in it that I was like, this is like kind of sad. And then after it, I'm like, this is super dumb. But like, there's a part in it that was a little emotional.
Does it involve Doll Man?
No, not necessarily.
Interesting. Have you seen his big thing? Because I think it's missable.
Oh, I'm not sure. With his family?
Yeah, like how he became Doll Man.
Yes.
Did you get that cutscene?
I think I did.
Because you only trigger it by talking to him, and you could just not talk to him at the right time on the ship and probably never see it.
I think I usually try to talk to him all the time.
Where you see him as a human is what I'm saying, so you would know if you've seen that.
Oh yes, with the tar, he and his daughter in the tar. Yeah,
it's like a whole elaborate, long, like fairly poignant scene that you could just never see.
And then like they introduce like a new concept, right? Where like the tar preserves the bodies. Like yes, I saw that whole thing. Yeah, no, it wasn't that. It has to do. It has to do with Sam later on, and Higgs getting the better of Sam, and there's a little part there where I was like, okay, something stirred inside me, and then of course then it gets very, very silly, and then towards the end it gets very, very silly in the way that you're like, I think Alex, you probably appreciate this from one where you're like, boy, there's no subtlety at all. This is a subtlety is for cowards moment right here. So yeah, I think, but fantastic so far. I will see how it winds up in the very, very, what I feels like the very, very end here. But I would think if I get some time this weekend, I will just sit and try and knock it out and
all right,
get to however many credit sequences there are, and then maybe go back and I do feel like I have a couple of gaps on the map. Maybe check those out. And then I'll check the trophy list. I haven't looked at it yet.
Yeah, I don't actually know for a fact if you have to 5-star everything to get the platinum or not.
Yeah, but hopefully it's not like upgrade all the roads or something.
That's not as hard as you think.
It's just tedious. That tedious part of it. So
the last thing I want to say about it is that I think the mountain is kind of an amazing video game environment for how extreme it is.
The snowy parts?
Yeah. Like, it's a combination of how steep it gets, which already is like a little vertigo inducing. Like there's some...
That ridge line sucks.
There's some like, when you're really trudging up or trying to drive up those very steep slopes, there is some weird psychological like figure and ground stuff going on, at least for me, of like, I am losing track of which way is up here.
Especially unless you can turn the camera and be like, oh, I'm vertical.
Yes, like it is like destabilizing in a vertiginous kind of way.
Yeah. And
the weather is so crazy up there. Like everything's really white and hard to see.
Yeah.
And if a blizzard comes in, it's even worse. And I've been up there at night a lot because I can't rest in the ship without triggering the next cutscene.
Oh, I see.
So I'm not advancing time much. So I get stuck out at night in a blizzard a lot.
Yeah.
And you quite literally can't see more than like 10 feet in front of you.
Yeah,
like I'm having to rely on the L2 or the L1 scan, like the regular cargo scan.
Yeah. Do you turn your light on? Your ODID?
Yeah, but the light does nothing in those conditions. Like it's like kind of shockingly extreme, and but when you do that scan, you don't normally use this, but it reveals the contours of the landscape in front of you.
If it's like
red, that's like the only way you can navigate in those conditions. It's like, it feels kind of like, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. Like, it's kind of bold that they like make it that inhospitable in a way that actually like reveals some fun gameplay.
It's good because it feels treacherous at points.
Yes, extremely.
And like sometimes you just are like, you're just going and you're like, oh, I've crested a thing.
Yes.
And then now I am in trouble.
So, and I like there's also the high elevation like oxygen component, where you'll lose consciousness if you're up above the death zone for too long. It's like, It's kind of getting into the extremes of the survival experience that I wished more of the game had, because usually it takes care of you enough that you're never going to get too in trouble. But this is like probably the most extreme environment I've seen in the game so far.
There's that part, but there's that part of the gameplay which I like in probably smaller portions than I actually like just the delivering stuff on the roads. Like I don't mind like when it is Sam versus Mountain. Like when you're out of a vehicle and you're just like trudging. But I also really like just driving from point to point. Did you get the mask?
Yes.
And do you just have it on all the time?
I guess there's no reason not to. I usually put it on.
It uses battery, I think.
Yeah.
I just keep it on all the time. But like I said, my battery drains quite a bit, and What's are you still dual sticky cannons? Did you upgrade?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I finally got the gloves that let you just pick up crystals from the truck, which is the best upgrade in the game.
I wish it came earlier.
Yeah. But yeah, dual cargo cannons all day long.
Okay.
Last thing I was just gonna say about the mountain, I had a moment where I was in one of those nighttime blizzards or something, and then you get to the top of the mountain, which is above the cloud line.
Yeah.
And like I just kind of emerged from this god awful mess that I was lost in, fumbling around in, and all of a sudden it's like clear skies, like stars everywhere, and they get very, this game plays fast and loose with reality. Like the moon is unthinkably big in this game when you're up on the mountain.
Yes.
And it's like I drove out of the muck into this clear skies, and here's this like massive nebula right in my face, and then I spin the camera around, and here's the moon filling the entire view.
It's a very pretty game.
And I was just like, man, this is like kind of a revelatory experience in terms of video game environment design.
There was a part where there was a very combat heavy part, and my truck got blown up. They had told me it was like, this is going to be a combat heavy part, and I was like, okay. So you probably have it too, just gobs and gobs of armaments, right? You probably just have like 8,000 shotguns, missile launch. You just got so much crap, right? So I was like, great, loaded them all up into the truck. Let's roll out. Truck gets blown up. So there was this point, my son was there, and I say this because you said the moon stuff, and this is the part he thought was awesome. There is Sam with a floating carrier behind him full of just machine guns, shotguns, whatever. And he has I don't know if you picked up any of those heavy weapons, that like the two-handed heavy weapons, trudging down this narrow path with the thing, with just a stockpile behind him.
Great.
And it was pretty fantastic, because I would burn through a gun, chuck it on the ground, grab a thing off the cart, burn through another gun. It's a pretty good cinematic moment too, because you can do some other stuff in it. But my son was like, when I was done with it, he's like, wait, you got to go pick all that stuff up and just keep marching through. And I was like, hell yeah. It's dumb.
Never stop marching.
Yeah. I like that the mix in this game of it taking itself seriously and not seems to be balanced well.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll find out maybe more. I think, Brad, if you, I wouldn't say maybe you'll be at the end, but I think you're going to get through a lot of stuff if you get through that cutscene. Because I feel like there are not as many critical deliveries. They do make you go fairly far, but it's not like you're going to hit too many more nooks and crannies you want to explore. Like the mountain area really takes a lot of time to explore.
Yep.
All right, that's Death Stranding 2. I think we're closing in on it here, but that's going to do it for the games for this week. We're going to take a quick break here. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about the news, so stick around. All right, we are back. And look, we are nearing, it sounds like, rumor and speculation, maybe approaching the inklings, the rumors, the sounds of a new generation coming.
We're in the run-up phase.
Year or two, right? Whether you want it or not, you're hungry for it or you're not. Usually that means what's going to happen with new consoles, who's going to be making what's Microsoft going to do, what's Sony going to do. Boy, howdy, Microsoft in the news a lot, not just because of we talked about this, 2 weeks ago with their hybrid console. More of that's been coming out of like, hey, they're really going to focus on this PC console thing. But Brad Shoemaker, we got a little bit more news here, some out of Bloomberg and other places, about what might be happening inside of Xbox games as we kind of lead into the next set of moves for them.
Some reporting from Bloomberg that kind of puts a why to the what of what's going on. It's just like every week now there is a constellation of headlines around the central theme of like, Xbox is changing. Xbox is not what it was. It's not going to be an exclusive console only ecosystem anymore. It's like this week there's this quote from Sarah Bond in an interview, I think it was with Mashable, calling console exclusives antiquated.
It is,
for example,
that is a thing they've been hitting a lot.
Like last week or the week before, it was the Xbox Ally, the handheld, which is not just an Xbox thing. It runs Windows and is going to have other storefronts on it. It's just like
there's that. I don't think we linked it in here, but that Satya Nadella thing being like, come on, guys, it's all about taking on TikTok. Like, grow up.
was it Phil Spencer? I can't remember who said that first, but then Nadella full on also agreed with that like, hey, like PlayStation's not our competition, TikTok is.
Yeah.
It's just hits, little news hits like that constantly these days.
That are again, as we go into what could be the beginning of the next generation, it is not, we need better looking games on our stronger hardware. It is a different holistic approach.
Yeah.
But this reporting maybe, like you said, maybe gives a little reason why.
Game Pass and price increases, like the whole
That's
thing.
true.
And then, but like this is a scoop from Jason Schreier and Dina Bass at Bloomberg that Microsoft management is mandating a 30% profit margin, 30% return from the Xbox division on the business, which I'm certainly not a video game executive. I couldn't have told you this part of the story, but apparently that is quite high.
Look, I don't think the Microsoft has ever made a 30% profit margin on anything related to Xbox before.
I want to say at CBS, the general rule of thumb was 20 they wanted for their units. And that always felt like a kind of, that's what I had heard when I would be like, what the fuck? That's what it was. Would be like, well, that's the corporate return is about 20%.
I'm just quoting from the Bloomberg story here. The average profit margin in the video game industry in recent years has ranged from 17 to 22%, according to estimates from S&P Global Market Intelligence, while coming in between 10 and 20% over the past 6 years at Xbox. So, like, that's a pretty substantial increase in the amount of money that Microsoft is expecting out of Xbox, which I feel like really just gives you the underlines every move they've been making recently.
But I would like to just point out in this story, and like we don't need to belabor this point because yes, Captain Obvious Caravella here, but like a 10% to 20% profit margin is still a profit margin, right?
Yeah,
it is not necessarily the return they might want to see, but it's not like they're losing money.
Yeah. Yes, they're just not making enough money.
You are not making enough money. It's not like the people who are doing work there aren't bringing a return on investment.
It's almost like that number might have less to do with what video games need to make within Microsoft and more to do with what Microsoft needs everything to be making in order to fund certain things.
Let me tell you about publicly traded companies.
Yeah, so so I think just kind of as we talk about this, just a bit of perspective, because there are going to be humans involved in this who are going to feel squeezed because they are just not profiting enough money for things, and like that to me is a bit of a just keep that in your head, right? Like they're not underwater. Yeah. It's not like they're in the red here, according to this reporting.
So this is pretty tangible stuff, it's just, hey, Microsoft wants more profit out of Xbox, and that's why they're doing the things they're doing. Like
who wouldn't?
But I saw there's some more extreme commentary out there. I think it was Jez Corden from Windows Central. I saw tweeting that basically said like, hey, parts of Microsoft upper management would like to strip Xbox for parts at this point. So it might
they're
be
trying to
more
find
dire.
a way to survive, basically.
Right. It might be more dire than you think, or that's, if it looks like they're making extreme moves, this is probably why. I mean, that's one other reporter saying that, but.
So,
sorry.
I don't know. The question I would pose to that is like, why did you just let them spend all that money on Activision if you're literally ready to start stripping it for parts already? Like
that started years ago, though. Who knows when the feelings changed within Microsoft's upper management?
But that's the thing, for feelings to change that hard, that fast, there has to be something animating all of this that is probably even beyond what we're speculating on.
I mean, in fact, there may be a direct causative relationship there of, hey, you just spent $80 billion on acquisitions.
Yeah.
It's time to start making some money off of that.
I also would not, I for me personally, would probably look at this as less of when they say strip Xbox for parts. I would say some of those parts will get rolled up into other software business units where like King might go into a Windows business unit. And those are good parts that they want to absorb because that is, some of their Call of Duty would be one of the parts, right? It just might not be an Xbox part.
That's the thing, is that maybe the thing they're talking about stripping here is Xbox from the equation.
Right. Yeah. Right.
I don't have his tweet in front of me. I don't want to mischaracterize exactly how he put it, but he kind of was basically saying like, hey, the CFO is really putting the screws to this business division to return. And then I don't remember exactly what the sequence of events was. When did, let's see, the Bloomberg story ran 6 days ago. Like almost immediately after the story ran, if I'm not mistaken, I'd have to go check dates. they then drop the Halo campaign Evolved announcements, which, like, by the way, Halo's coming to PlayStation.
The one thing I will say about that is I think they announced this Halo event a long time ago. So, like, there was always going to be this event, but you're right, the timing is pretty conspicuous.
I'm not suggesting they did it in a reactive way necessarily. It was just very funny that Bloomberg is out with this reporting about the financial demands on Xbox, and then, like, right away, it's like, by the way, Halo's coming to PlayStation.
Right.
Have you heard of this?
You guys excited? Huh? Maybe like 10% more excited now?
I don't have strong feelings about this Halo thing.
And what does that say, though? Like, that in and of itself, I think, says something, that we don't have strong feelings about the fact that Halo is coming to PlayStation.
Well, we don't. I mean, some people definitely do. Like, I don't want to undersell this. Like, some people care about the Halo 1 campaign the way I care about Mortal Kombat. Or whatever.
Sure. I care about the Halo 1 campaign, but I was kind of alluding to earlier, I very much care about the Halo 1 campaign, but it's mostly from a time and place thing, because you had as a PC player a lot, it was for me one of the real first person shooters to get it right on the console, right? Like, it was kind of an amazing feat. There was all the Bungie stuff leading up to Halo, which, again, as a PC and Mac person in art school, that Halo had this weird history behind it. But, like, good, it was Xbox's showpiece. It was the game I bought for my Xbox. That was like, this is the game I'm just going to play on this Xbox.
And it figured out shooter controls on a console to the extent that people referred to them as, like, Halo style controls for like a decade after that.
So let me rephrase that. I'm not trying to say that the Halo as a concept and a franchise was so deprecated that nobody cares about the fact that it's coming to PlayStation. That wasn't what I was trying to get at. Like, I do think that there has been significant deprecation of that brand and its value in, let's just say, the last 10 years or so. But nonetheless, this is an exciting thing. The thing that makes this, I think, not really that big of a deal or that surprising is that everyone predicted it would eventually happen, because this is the way Microsoft has been trending, and nearly every other franchise of theirs that is active is currently appearing on other platforms.
And on top of that, A, this remake has been rumored for some time, but B, this is kind of them just getting in on the action of, hey, everybody's remaking all of their old stuff now. Like, that's half of video games now.
That's basically what the UI or the Unreal Engine 5 is for.
It's
for remaking a thing you remember from college.
It's got a load your old game remaster button in it.
Yeah, what I meant about the strong feelings is I'm certainly not one of these people out there posting side by sides of the cutscenes they've shown of this and going like, oh, look how they've robbed the original cutscenes of their soul type shit.
I mean, I do think they have done a little of that.
Like, I don't have a strong investment in the original Halo in that way.
So it was funny. Alex and I actually talked about this on the ride home from the giant bomb thing. Look, you guys, you were before my time. You guys covered this game when it launched.
Kind of. This was like
this is a little before my time, but like Halo 2 and 3 absolutely were in that time frame.
This was about a year and change before we got to GameSpot full time.
Very, very close.
It's in the range.
I played this game as an adult. This was a game I bought with my own money. It wasn't a Christmas present. It was on a console I bought with my own money. I have fond memories of it. Mm-hmm. I don't think a Halo complete remake in Unreal Engine actually does this for me. It just makes me, I have fond memories of playing that game in the time and place. To capture what I loved about it, you'd have to do something completely different. You'd have to capture doing something novel on the console, right? Because that was what was novel about it. I mean, multiplayer stuff eventually was like the Forge when it came out was a 2.
3 was the first one.
3 was, I think, the Forge. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I do still think there's something to the combat puzzle aspect of the Halo gameplay that not a lot of shooters have matched. So if they can like recreate that, I think I would still enjoy playing this. But even that is not as impressive as it was.
I think, I mean, look, there's a difference between enjoying playing it and it being the, I'm not
recapturing what you remember from that time.
I mean, the thing that always stands out in my memory about playing Halo is that I always played them on like, a hard enough difficulty that I would die a fair amount, so I could actually see this happen, is that you would hit a hard fight and die multiple times, and the fight would never quite play out exactly the same way every time you reloaded. Like, the AI was dynamic enough to like, oh, they're grabbing different weapons or they're flanking me from a different direction this time. Like,
this guy always rolling away from my grenade.
Yes, like it always did feel a little more dynamic and interesting than a lot of shooters at the time, but even that is not as impressive as it was then.
I just think I'm a little more academically curious than emotionally curious about this one.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We are just putting these things together in a rundown format and not necessarily the reality. But it's hard not to look at this as like this better do well for Microsoft lens, right? And for me, it's I think that even the Gears of War stuff is a little bit more interesting because it's a prequel. It's like a new thing in the Gears universe. Yeah. Like that's a little more interesting if we're going to go back to that style of gameplay, which is a little dated, but still probably holds up. The stop and pop. Halo gameplay might feel a little dated. I don't know. Like I didn't. Do you guys know the temperature of Halo fans on like Infinite? Like was it generally received well?
I haven't kept track. Like the multiplayer was very hot and cold. People liked it at launch, and then it descended into the hardcore community just complaining constantly about everything they did type stuff. I think
I just don't think it ever fully found its footing. Like there were definitely times when that game had its spikes, but I feel like overall the opinion was it never quite got there.
So yeah, I'm a Halo fan. I like Halo, especially the first 3.
I don't think this release doesn't even have multiplayer beyond campaign co-op, which I think goes up to 4 players now.
Online 4.
But there is no competitive multiplayer in this package, I think. I mean, granted, it's called a campaign evolved, so I guess that makes sense.
Maybe you got a separate executable for that. But I think it's 2-player split screen, 4-player online, right?
Yeah.
And so some of the interesting stuff is they say they have to revisit some of the arenas, like you just said, the combat puzzle arenas, because they have to make sure it fits 4 people for which would change some of the dynamic on a single player campaign, right?
And they're also adding a bunch of weapons from later games back into this first one, so they're making some changes and modernizations and stuff there.
So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but it will change some of the feel and tuning of some of those encounters.
I'll definitely be happy to play this, but I don't feel strongly either way about whether this should exist or not, like some people do. I like the more interesting conversation to me is that I feel like they got to covering all of the pillars of first party on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like way faster than I expected.
Yeah, right.
Like they hit Gears and Forza already this year, and now here's the last, like Halo was the one.
Yeah.
Like Halo, like for whatever you want to say about what's happened to Halo in the last 10 to 15 years, like it's still kind of the crown jewel of Microsoft first party, right? And
reputationally, absolutely.
Here's Halo coming to PlayStation, like they've closed the loop now.
And Master Chief Green, it's
I do think that's the only thing that is slightly surprising about this, and maybe it isn't, because we can kind of get a sense of where Microsoft is at in terms of we need these things to go better for us now. But I think a company in a better financial and stronger position probably would have saved Halo and a couple of these other ones for a later rollout, to not just feel like, no, we're just shoving everything. Just get it out there. Get that stuff on the fucking PlayStation. Like, that's what it feels like to me, is very much just we're all in. Just shove all the chips out there. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, like Outer Worlds 2 just came out, which I would like to try if I had infinite time, but I don't. But like that shipped day and date on PlayStation. So they are casting a pretty wide net.
I think, Microsoft's last, 10 years-ish, maybe a little longer than that. Their first-party stuff, their acquisitions always feel like they buy a company that's doing something cool in a space, and they'll acquire them, and then they put them to task kind of making more of that, right?
Yeah.
But then their first-party offerings do feel like they're always chasing something, and that's where I feel like Halo maybe felt like it stopped. It felt more iterative than it felt like it was pushing any boundaries.
Sure.
It was kind of chasing what was happening in different spaces and not necessarily where Halo
not really capturing any of them necessarily.
Yeah. Well, Halo had the problem of like they finished it, like Halo 3 is a very definitive end to the Halo saga.
You know what they could have done? More ODST, man. Give me some more of that.
Dude, ODST and Reach were both like probably my favorite. Halo 3 is a very robust package. Like Halo 3 did a lot of stuff very well, but like ODST and Reach are both like fascinating games that were great.
Yeah, explore some like other areas of this fairly detailed universe.
Yeah, like I don't know that like ginning up a whole new like 3-game arc with a new new antagonists, like like kind of a new Halo trilogy was maybe not the way to go. versus more interesting side stuff like that. But anyway,
do you think they do this? Okay, look, this is maybe silly, and maybe I'm being extremely cynical, and I should maybe give them a little bit more.
It's okay
credit,
to be cynical.
Do you think they do this and they leave the ending of this game in a place that is slightly different than the first one to say, look, maybe a Halo 2 wouldn't be a Halo 2 remake.
Wait,
it would be
you're saying they're going to Final Fantasy VII remake this?
That is exactly what I'm saying.
Oh boy,
because like, you know,
why are you putting that evil into the world?
I don't think they could get away with that.
But what do you if it is successful? Do you just move on to 2 and just remake 2?
Oh yeah.
Or are you like, we need to do something different, or we're just remaking this whole series again?
Yeah, I could see it.
I think they're remaking those first 3. I think you have a harder argument to make if you start talking about remaking ODST and some other stuff.
I mean, I could see them maybe doing work on ODST and Reach and making them like doing re-releases or something, maybe.
But I think that the Kiwami level appeal of a remake is maybe kind of loses some steam after 3.
I mean, because you put a lot of work, I assume you put a lot of work into this one, in getting the engine to work right.
I would hope so.
And then all that sunk cost, you would hopefully, recoup some with the sequels, right? Like, hey, we got the engine to work, we put the assets in, we tuned it up for the Halo mechanics, and now the second one will be a little easier, right? Because these games are pretty similar. But I don't know, are we going through the same beats again? Like,
yeah, probably.
All right, yeah, I don't know, maybe. I'm trying to think what you could do in the second one, at the end of the first one, that makes it a little different. Like, maybe what even, like, you destroy the ring and you kill the flood, right? Then you're on your little ship and you're just leaving.
I will say something about this, just compared with the way we were talking about the old, like, collections of Mortal Kombat games and things like that. I think there's a part of me that feels a little bit of relief that stuff from that era will just never get the UE5 remake treatment, because what would be the point? Like, what is the point of remaking Mortal Kombat 3 in a new engine? There's no point. It doesn't exist. There's no reason to do it. So they will only ever exist in these, like, gussied up, cleaned up versions of the thing that already existed.
I mean,
but like 3D games, generally speaking, that is the moment you walk in and they're just like, if you are still playing 3D engine video games, do we ever have an engine for you to make that new and sell it again?
And in fairness, remember that they did get into full production on HD remakes of those Mortal Kombat games. Remember?
Yeah.
Like they hired.
And they abandoned it.
They did. You're right. But I don't know. I think there's media floating around out there about that stuff, right?
I think there was. But yeah, they eventually realized that was maybe not a great idea.
And, maybe to its credit, Mortal Kombat did basically just remake those games just with a multiverse setting,
Well, yeah, I mean, MK9 was just them telling the story of OG Mortal Kombat again, but with an all-new game.
Yeah.
Okay, I pulled it up on the fandom wiki just to make sure that, like, the existence of that game is leaked and known, but I don't think any of the, like, footage of the new actors ever got out.
I don't know. I'll wait for Microsoft to buy NetherRealm when Warner Brothers sells off to
I think they're done buying stuff for a little bit. I think that maybe the buying period has come to a temporary close.
Just one more. Come on, just one more.
Just one more studio. Come on, I need the fix. Come on, just give me an indie studio. Any indie studio. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be the story for, I think, for the next, until we're into this next generation on Microsoft, right? Is what is their stated path forward and what is their reported path forward here?
I think two things, just to tie this one off. One, I think that given how much everything has shifted for Microsoft in even just the last 2 years, I would say, anything they are saying and doing now is 100% subject to change. Like, whatever they are alluding to, whatever their plans are going forward, yes, I understand there is a run-up to building hardware and putting out consoles, and they are going to have to commit to some things at some point. But as far as, like, what they are philosophically, as far as what they are planning on delivering in terms of, video games and the studios they have, none of that shit is set in stone. None of it, because it could change at any time, depending on the whims of the greater business, and let's just say the ever-inflating AI bubble.
I do think this is I think they're going to have to commit to this hybrid console, and they're going to
do all their chips. That much I do believe.
Yeah. I think that strategy of trying to push as much of that Windows ecosystem with the tie-ins and all that stuff is going to be in the console space to get you binging it up on your console, like I think Satya Nadella even said that, which was like, there's this myth that the console, I'm paraphrasing, but like this myth that the console was this walled place where the best games would happen, and like I think we should revisit this walled garden kind of approach for consoles and PC. And to me that reads as we're leaving a lot of money on the table in terms of not being able to sell you things on your media streaming device that everybody puts in their living room.
No, that was the original Bill Gates dream, though. That was the whole reason the first Xbox got greenlit was, hey, we need a wedge into the living room.
Yeah.
Like, we need to sell things on a box on top of people's TVs.
They lost that vision.
I will say, just as the last thing I wanted to mention, though, we didn't really talk about the whole TikTok comment and the whole, like, this is our real competition thing. I think they're getting at something that is correct. Yeah. I don't know that they are framing it the correct way, but the thing they are correct about is that, yes, there is an ever-increasing competition for your attention, and that attention is increasingly being drawn towards short-form content on your telephone or your tablet or whatever else. That is 100% true, but that is also a problem for PlayStation. That is also a problem for Nintendo. That's a problem for anyone that is trying to produce media entertainment that goes on your TV or other, media devices. The thing that they're wrong about, though, is that PlayStation is not their competition. PlayStation is 100% still their competition, and no amount of saying that is going to make it not so until you stop being a platform holder.
I agree with you to an extent. Like, I think it just depends how you frame his question, right? Like, I think you said it yourself, like in the attention economy.
Yeah, but that's everyone's problem. That's not unique to them.
I know. Yeah. I think it's not for me, though, right? Like, my problem is, like, am I going to play on my PS5 or my Xbox?
No, it's a problem for anyone who is trying to make that stuff.
Yeah. Xbox Shorts. That's it. Just give me these 2-second games. Check out this sick clip of me, no scope. You're saying
WarioWare was way ahead of its time?
11-minute video games.
Can we just get infinite scroll video games?
It wouldn't be the first time Nintendo put this thing. Nintendo was way ahead of the curve.
Scroll down, do this headshot. Scroll down to the next game. Drift around this corner. Like, just constant, like, work time fun
Halo.
Is all video games now.
Line up this headshot. Switch weapons. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough out there.
Yeah,
it's tough out there. You guys
weird
see
fucking
that,
time.
And Microsoft seems to be having the hardest time weathering it.
It's a weird time. I flagged this story. Periodic shout out to Video Games Chronicle for helping make this news segment possible. Still by far the best distilled video game news feed out there that I know of. But they wrote up this Business Insider story, which was paywalled, which I have not seen the original of. Talking to people inside EA, I assume that's what you were about to mention.
I was going to mention the EA.
Like, I don't know that I have the energy to go through all of this. Right
EA AI story.
It's the Business Insider talked to a bunch of EA staff talking about how widespread the managerial mandate is to use AI on like everything.
Yeah, AI tools now. Specifically.
It sounds like it's less about generative AI for content and more about like managers using AI to figure out how to talk to their subordinates about raises.
Yeah.
Like using AI to aggregate feedback on playtesting instead of human beings that used to do that.
Like thought partner is what the story quoted.
And they do, and some of these employees they've spoken to think that the AI stuff is leading to layoffs as it takes over duties that people were previously doing, which is not hard to believe, but just in the wake of all this Microsoft stuff, like, and also in light of the acquisition of EA.
Yeah.
Or the taking private of EA. Yeah. Like, things have been weird at EA for a while before that deal.
I mean,
when big video game companies getting strange.
And then you have, what was it, Strauss Zelnick being like, using generative AI in any endeavor that is a creative endeavor
is bullshit. Like, I kind of have to give it up for Strauss Zelnick and those comments. On the other hand, he certainly has the luxury of making those comments when he has Grand Theft fucking Auto to fall back on.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like he hasn't been a hatchet man for some other shit in recent years, but I appreciate him at least saying this.
Like, his point is incredibly salient in this speech or this talk he gave to whatever this business conference was, that like he was like, hey, generative AI is fundamentally backwards looking because it has to work on a data set of existing data.
Right.
And it can never be creative in a true forward looking sense because it only has existing material to work on.
Right.
Like, Zelnick may be ruthless, but he's not dumb. Like, he's pretty smart, and I think he probably sees this shit for what it actually is.
Yeah. Like, I admire somebody that big in the business community saying, like, hey, like, making games with AI is fundamentally non-workable.
And I'm pretty sure he's not just saying this because social media has been absolutely fucking lousy with fake GTA 6 footage generated by AI.
Is that right?
Basically, since they started showing what that game actually looked like.
Yeah, we're getting into the bad times now with like Sora 2 and some of these generative video models coming out. Like, we're getting into just the like, hey, like the mostly plausible video slop is starting to proliferate fucking everywhere.
Yeah. It's only plausible if you don't look at it for more than a few seconds.
I would entertain. I would listen to the argument of because I think at some point it becomes a philosophical argument. I like Strauss's perspective on this of like, like I was saying, generative AI is mostly doing a connect the dots on a data set, right? To give you what you want. And again, I don't necessarily believe this, but philosophically, could you connect the dots in a unique pattern to make something new? And call that a creative endeavor as spit out. Because I feel like a lot of people do believe that, right? They're like, hey, it helped me write this song, or it helped me do this, create this image. But like, look, that's not how I feel personally. But like, I think I would say one could probably argue that we all use our past experiences as a human to create something new. But then we're getting into real philosophical.
I can think of a certain doctor who once thought that cobbling together a new human out of pieces of corpses made a lot of sense. Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein in theaters now.
But look, the thing I always go to with this stuff is that it is completely possible to remix and take things from existing media, existing whatever else, and create something new and worthwhile out of it. I mean, that is basically what hip hop was in the early days, was taking samples and creating new music out of these things that already existed. And the difference, of course, is that was a human being deciding what would sound the best, how to mix these things together, creating something out of what was already there.
Making mistakes. Yeah.
Versus a machine just sort of generating a thing it thinks you'll like.
Yeah. Or in the style of, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it's just more of to me, there's some interesting philosophical stuff that if I can remove myself from the kind of dehumanizing of the creative process is an interesting thing to look at as art. And that's just probably more of my like BFA talking than anything else of like, what is art? What is creativity? Can a non-human be creative? Is it a human creation to be creative? Or
I think it is.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah. I don't know.
My attitude is that if you want to define art, what it is, art is a human expression of a kind. It has to be a human expression. It has to be a thinking creature. Art? And it is if it's depicted by a person who is interpreting it.
Yeah. Is nature art?
I mean, that really gets into some like designed universe theory that I'm not really prepared for today. I think I need to do my research a little more, but
it could be Kirk Cameron. Is this banana art? Anyway, yes, interesting stuff there. Clearly happening on all fronts from EAAI to what the hell is going on with Microsoft? Let me ask this last question here. Positing it. Okay. To you guys and to the audience as a whole, Phil Spencer, does he make it to the next round of Microsoft?
I think he takes if there is an exit for him, he will take it.
I don't know. I bet he's there through the next console launch.
You do? You think he shepherds it in?
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with that, but I'm saying once that thing is out the door, if there is a viable exit for him, he will take it.
But you think, Brad, he is holding the reins on this next console launch? This is his project?
I think so.
Yeah, I probably tend to agree with that. It sounds like a rough position to be in. Like it sounds like a squeeze.
I think the only way he's out of there, definitely, between now and whenever that next console comes out, is if that AI bubble bursts sooner than they're expecting.
Microsoft needs 60%.
Yeah, if they just have to shed like 60% of their company in order to do it, I think most of what is Xbox is probably not surviving that.
All right, we do have some other stories here. How do you guys
much lighter stories?
Yeah. We got we've been talking a lot about Death Stranding 2. If you've been skipping that entire segment, we have chapter marks and stuff like that. If you've been skipping it and don't want to hear about Kojima's latest adventures in Death Stranding 2, but maybe you'd be interested to hear about one that maybe could have happened, Brad Shoemaker.
Yeah, we also talked about filmmakers, modern filmmakers on the Ramblecast this week who like grew up playing games or like actually appreciate them in a way that the previous wave of filmmakers dealing with video games did not.
Maybe inspired by them.
This is like a shockingly early example of that. I guess this came out of an interview with Konami's vice president of licensing, who apparently revealed that the Wachowski sisters, at the time of the first Matrix movie releasing, this is not like years after Matrix became like a huge property, went straight to Konami management and requested that Kojima make the Matrix game. Which, again, is like early.
Yeah.
Like, this was pre-MGS2. This is like Metal Gear Solid 1 was not that old at this time. So, like, for like popular filmmakers to know him and his work enough to request him by name, I think is kind of cool.
The Wachowskis have always been gigantic nerds. That has been my impression of them, is that, long before the Matrix, those girls were as big a nerd as they could possibly be.
Well, he was not a household name at this point, though. Like, definitely, like among people who really cared about video games, like even the first MGS had a ton of hype and was just like, oh my god, this guy made like a movie kind of on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But still, he was not like the name that he is now. Then,
yeah.
Anyway, Konami management just flat out shot it down like on the spot.
So goes the
apparently.
Story.
That's what the story is, yeah.
Or one version of the story.
To the extent that Kojima actually just tweeted about this yesterday, like last night, basically saying, like, I've never heard this story before. Nobody ever told me about this at the time.
So one of the stories says the Konami vice president says that, like, this was the time extension, was saying that, like, Kojima was in the room and, like, here we all were. Basically sitting down, and then I forget who it was in the head of Konami was like, no, not happening. And then Kojima later being like, first I'm hearing of it, just never heard of that.
Yep.
I believe every part of that story except the part where Kojima was in the room.
Yes.
One, I believe him that he was not told about this, and two, this sounds very much like the kind of thing you would say when you never told him that opportunity even came around.
I was surprised to see on social media that the Wachowski sisters had offered me a Matrix game project back in 1999. In all these 26 years, no one has ever told me such a conversation had taken place.
Yes. And then again, just to compare and contrast, the story from the president of licensing says, the Wachowskis were big fans of Kojima. So Kazumi, is it Katawe? Kojima Akisaito, who still works with Kojima, and I were at the Konami HQ and we got a call from them and wanted to come in and meet with Kojima. So they did. And like for Kojima to be like, yeah, no, I would probably remember that, right? Yeah.
Well, I love that in this tweet he posted photos of his autographed VHS copy of Bound with like a personal,
it's a great movie.
Like a personal note to him from them, just as if to say, like, hey, here's my bona fides.
Mm-hmm. Is it
this definitely happened?
Is it?
He would have wanted to do it. I believe that.
Yeah,
that's not too late.
That's the tone of this Twitter post, is that he sounds pretty bummed that this never came about, or he never got the chance to do this.
And them never presenting this to him sounds like exactly the kind of thing that would have happened given the weird wedge that existed between Konami and management and him over time.
This came up on the Ramblecast because we were talking about weapons this week.
Mm-hmm.
And Zach Kreger, who made that movie, apparently is making a Resident Evil reboot next.
Yep.
And some people on the Discord dug up like quotes from him where he's like name dropping Leon Kennedy, saying like, I'm not going to go tell Leon's story again in this movie because that story has been told. Like people have that in the games already. Like I'm doing an original story.
Hell yeah, that's how you should do it.
Universe.
Absolutely.
And apparently
that's how you end up with those other Resident Evil movies.
Apparently he's also like streamed Dark Souls before. So like we're just in a weird world now where filmmakers and video game creators are all just kind of on an equal playing field.
It's weird
now.
to us.
I mean, it's awesome. It's not bad weird. It's just like so not what you're used to if you followed this stuff 20 years ago, where most people making like video game adaptations of movies were kind of dismissive of the source material.
That was garbage.
Or didn't care about it.
But that's the thing, the generational turnover happened. And, you know, all those people that grew up playing these games now are actually in positions of influence within various, you know, media industries and now can do these things because they like them and not just because the license is there.
Right. And that's the thing you read about like the Fallout TV show is that the showrunners played the Fallout games when they came out and loved them, you know. So.
And it shows.
Yeah.
And like I just want to add in here about the Wachowskis. They did like original footage for that Shiny game, right? The one that came out and it was and it was canonical, right? It was like
they filmed
Matrix?
more with Jada Pinkett and some of the other characters for that.
Yeah. So like I think they were
cared.
Yeah,
Dude,
they cared. Right.
Did you play Path of Neo?
No.
They literally narrate the end of the game. They show up and they explain why they changed the ending to be a big boss fight against, you know, Agent Smith that isn't the thing from the movie. And they're just like, hey, by the way, we're the Wachowskis. We're here to tell you why this ending is like this. Anyway, enjoy fighting a giant Agent Smith.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, they love this shit.
Which one was Path of Neo?
Path of Neo was the one that was made after Enter the Matrix.
Yeah, that's the one that lets you play as Neo, because I think a lot of people were mad you didn't get to play as Neo in Enter the Matrix.
So there was Path of Neo, Enter the Matrix, and then the Matrix Online was
yes.
Oh, okay.
That was basically the breadth of Matrix stuff.
And then who owns the Matrix?
Warner Brothers.
Oh, all right. So you're saying it's up? could be up for sale. Great.
It could, in fact, be up for sale. I don't know.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So what I'm saying is, it's not too late. We could these crazy kids could all get together.
Based on Death Stranding 2, I'm pretty happy he's making his own weird shit now.
Same.
Oh yeah. But like maybe there's a fun collab somewhere that's a smaller thing, right? That could be
at the very least, those sisters are getting scanned yesterday.
That's right. Or like, you know, it's like one of those the weirdest missed connections, right? Mm-hmm. Like, hey, saw you made a cool narrative game. We love video games. Would like to on the bus. we would love to make a video game. Anyway, call me, please. That could be fun.
Imagine what could have been. Imagine Kojima's take on the Matrix.
I mean, what if it changed the entire arc of Kojima's career, where Metal Gear stops being made, where there is no Death Stranding, where he's still at Konami because they made a killer Matrix game?
I don't know. It's fun to think about, though.
Yeah. What's his the one I never played that everybody always says I should play? His early earlier than that. Snatcher. What if they come on for like a Snatcher movie? Snatcher movie.
No one knows what Snatcher is.
That's why they'll find out.
It's kind of anime Blade Runner. I mean, Snatcher fans are probably going to get furious.
No. I know what Snatcher is, but I'm saying no one outside of the most video game circles knows what Snatcher is.
But what I mean is, like, that material has kind of been covered, or he was drawing from film pretty strongly in the first place.
Is that, I assume Konami owns that property somewhere?
Yes.
They got rights on that?
Quite sure that's the case.
All right, Brad, speaking of old properties, what's this? You're going to have to help me out with this last story.
I just think it's funny that apparently Toshinden is getting a re-release. Speaking of old fighting games being re-released.
Mm-hmm.
This is a Japanese media company called Edia, which I have not heard of, apparently has come into possession of the property.
The Battle Arena Toshinden franchise.
Battle Arena Toshinden. And they're going to put out the first 3 Toshinden games again, apparently.
Sure.
Okay. I don't really have any love or affection for this.
I knew people who did.
I mean, Toshinden was like the PlayStation 1 launch game. Like that was like, speaking of 3D fighters being huge at this time.
Mm-hmm.
Like Toshinden was like the game to get at the PlayStation launch. I mean, you know, some people might say it was Ridge Racer, you know, but like for me, that was the game. Like if I'm getting a PlayStation, I'm getting Toshinden for it. It's fine.
Did you?
Yeah. Yes,
okay.
that was the game I got with my PlayStation.
Nice.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's of a time.
It was a perfectly adequate. I don't know. Maybe people have stronger feelings about it. And I never played 2 or 3 because by then who cared? But you know, like PlayStation did not have a Virtua Fighter, or Tekken was not out yet. Or actually, wait, was Tekken a launch game? Maybe it was actually pretty close to launch.
This article said a couple of months before Tekken was released.
That's what I thought. Is Tekken was close to launch, but not quite there. So, if you were jealous of Virtua Fighter, this is what you bought.
Sure,
on the PlayStation. Anyway,
it's no Virtua Fighter. I will say that
it's just goofy to me that these games are being put back out.
Three of them. Was Tekken Tag a launch for PS2?
Yeah, that was, yes.
Okay. So all you Toshinden fans rejoice.
Everybody clamoring for a Toshinden re-release, you're in luck.
Targeting 2026 and 2027. The blurb on this reads really stilted. I don't know where this quote's coming from, but
I don't think this is a big company.
We will commence porting development of contracted titles to current generation systems, targeting release between fiscal year 2026 and 2027.
Yeah, I mean that's
machine translation.
Yeah, that's a computer translated quote for what it's worth.
Yeah, commencing port, activate. We will leverage our accumulated experience. All right,
everything is going to get re-released eventually.
Oh yeah.
It's all
except
happening.
for the stuff that has licenses that will never be untangled.
And right around the time that the final thing is re-released, it'll be time to re-release the first thing again.
Yep.
We will remake it for you wholesale.
I passed over a story this week about Nintendo responding to the idea of like, what's Mario like at 100?
Yeah.
Like, is Mario going to get to 100 years?
Continue to innovate.
Which,
yeah, of course.
Which made me start wondering. I skipped it because I don't know what like the international implications are around public domain stuff. Like, is Mario going to enter the public domain in any territory at some point? How does that work? I don't know.
Not if Nintendo can help it.
Because like there's all these Winnie the Pooh and Popeye slasher flicks out there now. And like the idea of Mario, the idea of like killer Mario movies getting made. If Mario ever enters the public domain is delightful.
I don't know how Japanese copyright works. It's not a U.S. company, right? So maybe they have shorter or longer.
I do think you still have to register trademarks in America, though, to sell stuff here.
Yeah, I really have no idea how that stuff works.
Yeah, I mean, look, Mario probably up there for some of the most bootleg shit out there.
It's right. He's right up there with Mickey Mouse in terms of shit you will see him doing on T-shirts on the Jersey Boardwalk that he would never do in real life.
Or like, what is it? A luck doll? What is your? What did you bring back, or what did you get back from
wealth
China?
God.
Oh, my wealth god. Yeah, no, that's definitely officially licensed for sure.
Nintendo,
Nintendo's getting a definite cut of that.
It's a wealth god, of course.
Yeah.
All right. Is that it for the news?
Yeah.
Well, there's always news going on there. That's it for our news segment. All right. Let's move into the emails. We have an email address here, podcast@nextlander.com. That is podcast@nextlander.com. Podcast@nextlander.com. What you got for them emails?
How about this one from Steven?
How about this
I'm
one?
watching Star Trek with my wife, and we started comparing Kirk and Picard. This then came to the question of what would Kirk have done if he encountered the Borg?
Oh.
I cannot answer
this. This is a question for you guys.
Yeah, I can't answer this question. Like, yes, the practical answer is probably died.
I don't think he would have been able to handle that with even the relatively deft touch that Picard and the gang did.
Can you guys give me a quick summary of like what makes Picard's encounter stand out?
Actually, no, because if we ever do that show on the Watchcast,
I think I can do it without spoiling it.
You need to go into that fresh.
Okay.
I think I can do it without spoiling it. The basic gist is they end up in a place they're not supposed to be. The Borg are there. It is their first encounter with them. It does not go well, but they survive it. And that's all that I'm going to say beyond that.
Like, particularly at the beginning, the Borg are very much like an immovable object, kind of unstoppable force kind of situation.
Able to counter them in ways that other species never have.
I think I know that much about the Borg.
Yeah, they were just helpless. And so that's why I can't answer this question, because the idea of Kirk being helpless is like impossible to fathom.
I'm trying to think in season 1 or season 2, is there any situation where he himself does not wile his way out of a situation? I'm actually having a hard time.
I feel like the closest you get is something like A Private Little War, where it's like he's clearly wrong about something and it kind of leads to bad shit, and then he doesn't learn a lesson from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. But he's still figured it out himself.
I think the fundamental difference is that Kirk would have absolutely tried to swashbuckle his way through that encounter, and everyone on that ship would have been assimilated.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to Kobayashi Maru his way through that encounter.
No, and I don't think Q would have had as much fun playing around with him either.
Could he have logic bomb the Borg? Is that a thing you can do?
No.
Okay.
No, you cannot talk the Borg to death.
That is one computer you cannot talk into killing itself.
Okay. All right. So
many have tried.
So the answer from our two people who would know is die.
Yeah, die.
Pretty much.
Fairly quickly, I might add.
Okay. All right, another email?
Sure.
Hit me.
Corey from Abbotsford, British Columbia.
Okay.
Wanted to add to the Simpsons conversation from last week. My 9-year-old daughter, with absolutely no influence from me, decided to start watching The Simpsons on Disney+.
Bless her.
As soon as I noticed, I skipped her to the start of season 2. She loves it. Keeps asking me questions about specific references and talking about what she's just watched. For reference, she just finished the episode where George H.W. Bush becomes their neighbor.
Okay.
My 6-year-old son also wants to watch it, but I don't think he's quite old enough to understand many of the jokes.
Yeah.
That's neat to me.
Yeah. Pleasing.
Like, relating to Simpsons as old media is cool in a way that, like, I think all the time about how, like, discovering, like, Mad magazines from 10 years before I was born, or maybe not that quite that old, but, like, I read a bunch of, like, 70s Mad magazine in the mid-80s as a child that, like, somebody in my family had or whatever. And it made me aware of things like Watergate.
Sure.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, treating something as old media, even though it was, like, contemporary, obviously, when it came out, but, like, going back to something as a child can really sort of, like, put you in touch with cultural elements from the time before you were around. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
In a way that, like, she's probably, like, getting a decent little crash course in, like, 90s pop culture and politics and stuff.
Totally.
If it's Mad Magazine, it's the snarkiest. But, you know, The Simpsons, I guess Simpsons is pretty snarky.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, in a digestible sitcom format.
Yeah. Man, have you guys watched modern Simpsons?
No.
Much?
Not recently, no.
Okay.
I watched some episodes like a few years ago just out of like morbid curiosity. I didn't think it was like terrible or anything. It just wasn't really what I was looking for.
I did become aware recently that they did 2 Treehouse of Horrors last year.
Oh.
For some strange reason, and one of them is an entirely a Ray Bradbury collection, and I kind of actually am interested to see that.
That sounds interesting. I will say the biggest thing for me with Modern Simpsons is I've tried to go back and watch a lot of random Treehouse of Horrors, and they got just too broad. Like, the parodies became not horror after a while, by and large, and most of them just weren't that funny.
Yeah, and very formulaic, right?
Yeah.
Do they do... okay, this is a dumb Simpsons question, but I really haven't watched that much of it since it originally aired, since the original watching of it when I was a kid. But, like, did they do whole episodes that are, like, topical skewers, or is it more just references to topical things?
I mean, there are episodes where the primary plot is kind of a skewering of either a real world event or something that is at least familiar. But it's a regular episode usually. It's not like they're doing a whole non-canon thing that is sort of like its own weird parody. There are occasions outside of Treehouse of Horror, but it's not a lot of them.
Like less of like a South Park, like we're going to take this.
Yeah.
No,
okay.
They never went that direction.
It was not ripped from the headlines like South Park is.
Okay. But they might reference something that's just like.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, like Modern Simpsons is all kinds of just like Bart becomes an influencer. Like it's a lot of like what feels like really topical stuff that they didn't do so much early on.
Okay. Interesting. All right. One more email.
I want one more.
Alex demands another.
All right. Travis and Fargo have not heard from Travis in a while. Or I take that back. Travis writes in regularly.
We have not. You, the listener, has not heard from Travis in a bit.
Butter on your PB&J?
No.
Dude, that's a level of decadent that I had never even considered before.
I don't respect this.
Yeah.
Look, I don't sanction it.
That is so much fat.
I'm a fan of multiple fats on a sandwich. I have no problem with cheese and mayonnaise on the same sandwich. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's fair. Sure.
Yeah, but like,
I can live with it. I just don't want it.
Or maybe it's oily, like butter, like dairy fat and nut fat.
It's like a little.
Talk about that nut fat.
That's a lot of oil on a sandwich.
Butter's like a warm fat. You know what I mean? There's something like a warm fat about butter, and I feel like peanut butter's kind of a cooler fat,
smoother.
Yeah, or like a sweeter. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like apple butter's pretty good. Maybe I put apple butter on a PBJ.
I don't need to live like that. Like I understand it. I respect it well enough, but that's not my life. I have cholesterol problems as it is. I don't need to exacerbate them.
Fair. Okay. Good. Glad we can answer the deep questions there. Thank you, Travis. All right, that's going to do it for the emails, and that's going to do it for our show. And
how pained it was when you seemed to say emails. Emails.
And that's going to do it for our October horror month. We are now done. We have put into the recording archives When Evil Lurks, which opens me up to watch any horror movie I want ever again.
Dude, let's talk about Bring Her Back.
No, I don't. That's save
it for the Ramblecast next week.
We'll get to that next week.
Should I watch that? Should we just turn the Ramblecast into another side watch cast?
That one is a lot.
So we have When Evil Lurks was our finale for the October spooky movies. Before that, we had Hereditary. Before that, we had Final Destination. And before that, we had Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the 19 version, 70, 80?
78.
78. Is it 78?
78.
Yeah. Okay. So you can go check those out. That was a lot of fun, but we are moving on. And if you didn't catch the end of the last episode where we announced what is coming up, Alex Navarro, give the folks a treat.
We have decided that for the month of November, we are doing a turkey month, though these are not definitely the worst movies I could have picked for this. We are doing very stupid action movies of varying stripes. And our first one up ties us. It's still, you get a little bit more spooky season in if you want it. John Carpenter's Ghosts of Mars, an extraordinarily dumb film.
Maybe one that stopped Carpenter from making movies in Hollywood. For
The Ward was his last thing, which that was the one that came after this, I think. And, look, he made some greats.
Mm-hmm.
This is not one of them.
Okay. I think I saw this in the theaters. You saw this in the theaters.
I saw this in the theaters.
Yeah, you said you saw this with family,
with my dad.
Okay, yeah.
Didn't love it.
Yeah, and did you put the rest of the list up yet? It's not in the.
No, it's not up on the Patreon yet, but it will be before the end of the week.
Okay, so we will be starting with Ghost of Mars. Join us for that as we kick off our November. That'll be going up next week. Then we also have a Never Been a Better podcast going up. Friday is My Hope. This was a weird one. So we recorded this last week. Maybe you guys can help me out, or somebody in the audience can help me out, because I'm a little confused. Dan sent me his file, and the way Dan usually sends me his file is as an attachment in like a Gmail. Like he doesn't give me a drive link. He'll just pull it into the email as an attachment, which creates a drive link and then sends it to me. When I went to go pull it down this week, it said it couldn't find the file anymore. Like, do those expire? Like, it's only been a week.
I've never had that happen before, but it's possible.
And so, unfortunately, Dan, as you might know, away from his computer in New Jersey. So I had blocked out Tuesday to edit that and get it up on Friday. It is going to hopefully be up on Friday. Dan will be back on Thursday. I can hopefully just edit that very early in the morning on Friday, a little first thing in the morning, 7:00 edit, and that should be up Friday. We'll see. That's my hope. And if Dan can't get me the file, if you're listening to this, I still have the.
It's his fault.
No, I mean, he sent it to me. I just didn't pull it down.
Two things. I got to talk to Dan about setting up remote access to his machine.
I know. I mean, look, he was very busy.
Yeah. What, could you just do a Garfield without Garfield situation here and just post the podcast without his audio?
Oh man, it's Dan, so a lot of it would be us going like, "What?"
Yeah.
Come on.
I don't think that's going to work for very long. I think that's a funny bit for a bit, but you kind of need him eventually.
I do have the mix down from the call, so I do have the it just it
won't sound as good.
It doesn't sound as good. The balances are off, and then it's a little harder to edit around some stuff when you have it all combined. So anyway, that should be up on Friday. You should tune into that. Abby Russell is also there. Check that out. That'll be on the Patreon as well. Like we just mentioned, Ramblecast last week or this week. Jeez, man, my time frame is gone. We talked about weapons, a little mini watch cast with weapons.
What a picture.
Yeah. And so you can jump into there. I think we talk about some other stuff, but it's a lot of weapons, the movie weapons. If you want to check that out from this week, that is also on the Patreon. If you can follow the trail here, I'm working up to something.
No, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah, Planorama on the Patreon. These are things you can all find at patreon.com/Nextlander, where you can also, in addition to finding all of these fantastic things, you can go to support us. There are a lot of tiers there. You can find a tier that fits your lifestyle, gives you the benefit of getting all of these great things and supporting us in the process. We believe this is a fair exchange.
I think so, yeah.
We try to give you something, and you can keep us creating the content that hopefully you are enjoying. So you can go to patreon.com/Nextlander, find a tier that is right for you. One of those tiers is the Mysterious Benefactors tier, and they get their name read on this here show. Starting with Sean Miller, sending good vibes on the internet. RRE, Alpha Rhythm, Infelicitous Rips, David L, Kelly F, Brian Lucier, Skywarp, Jason Grimm, John Hubbard, NXL Retirement Fund, Evan Cook, Jerry Lee, Rogue Trader Deidre Von Valancius, Robert Fisher, celebrating 40 years of bunny crimes. Happy anniversary. Jad Rita, Statics, Brian Murphy, Randy Duax, Randy Alderson, Andrew Tiebkin, Alex Wu, It's Me JP, Andrew Chick, Andrew Slosky, Steve Lynn, Matthew Herrig, David Campos, and Tyler Treese.
You thought he wasn't going to be there.
He was there.
He was there all along.
It's like a suspended note. You need it. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Tyler. Those are our Mysterious Benefactors for this week. Thanks to everyone for supporting us. We literally can't do it without you. We know you have a lot of places that you can go in this specialized and now fragmented economy. We do appreciate you supporting us. If you were not there, we also would not be here. So it's pretty much just like that.
So true.
It's like that. So really do appreciate it. Especially, I will say from the bottom of my heart, it might not feel like there's a lot of support systems out there right now. You may look outside in your particular environment and be like, where is my government? Where is my support system? So having you guys out there supporting us really does mean something to us. We could not do this without you. And it also feels like somebody is supporting us and keeps us able to do this. So thank you very much. Patreon.com/Nextlander. If you like what we do, then I've got great news for you. We did it this week as well. On Monday, Will Smith joined us, and we tried to play Power Washing 2, or Simulator 2. That did not work. Apparently, the multiplayer in that game, not having a good time right now. So we switched gears, literally changed gears into RV There Yet? Is that right? Is that the one? Where Brad was mostly switching gears to try to drive that RV up cliffs. And Will and I were winching, and that was kind of a weird, fun game.
The game's kind of a mess, but in a really interesting way.
Yeah, it checkpoints. It's like I wasn't expecting the checkpoint in a game like that. So that was RV There. You can check that out on Monday. Like I mentioned before, on Fright or Shite, our final episode with Abby Russell, we finished a Dead Reset, so you can check out the conclusion of that. And then we jumped into Phasmophobia, where we got our ass handed to us by ghosts.
Yep. over and over and over again. The ghosts won, folks.
The ghosts will win.
Afterlife is undefeated.
So go check that out. And then as well, when you're hearing this, the poll may still be open, but you can go check out the Patreon. And we have a poll up for certain tiers to go vote for our Friday Patron's Choice. So you can go check that out. I'm going to guess from the options I saw there that it's either drumming or the, what was it, retro classics, the Halloween retro classics.
Yep.
What's in the lead? Do we know?
Retro Halloween is ahead by a lot now.
Oh, hell yeah. Nothing against the drumming.
Silent Hill F was way out in the lead yesterday.
Wait, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I thought that would have been
by like 10 points.
Inside scoop. I'm probably going to play that anyway.
But no. Yes, I also want to play that, but it seems like retro Halloween favorites might be the winner.
Cool.
Hell yeah.
I've got ideas for that. People can, if that wins, people can show up and throw requests in the chat or post requests on the comments on that poll.
Great. That sounds like fun.
Yeah. I think we'll just bounce around, and I don't think we're going to play 2 hours of Friday the 13th for the NES, but we'll probably check it out.
You never know. It could happen.
Some other ideas. There's plenty of spooky old games of yesteryear to go through.
It is actual Halloween. So that Friday will be Halloween. So who knows what evils will summon. Again, kids love evil. Evil loves kids and video games. Evil loves video games.
Mm-hmm.
But I do believe that brings us to the end of the show. So make sure you check all that stuff out. Like I said, go check out the Watchcast. If you're not, we are moving into some fun, dumb action movies. If you're a little skittish on the horror side, now becomes the dumb, fun action movies, and we'll be checking those out in November. So thanks everybody for supporting us. Again, we do appreciate it. Thank you very much, Alex Navarro.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brad Shoemaker.
Thank you.
And we'll see ya next week.